Schaefer. Fears of the coronavirus have caused several organizations to cancel or postpone conventions and events they had planned for Las Vegas. And the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority is beginning to feel a financial hit.
Most of our revenue comes from room tax. The rest of our revenue comes from operating our building. So those revenue streams are going to be hit pretty significantly. We don't know exactly what that number is going to be, but it'll be meaningful over that shorter period of time.
LVCVA CEO Steve Hill says 9 major events, including the Adobe Summit, have been canceled. As the new coronavirus continues to spread across the United States, health experts are studying other countries to learn what to expect.
U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams says by studying China and Italy, where the outbreaks are massive, they know that younger people are less vulnerable to serious illness. And the key is taking the steps to prevent the spread of the virus to the elderly and those with chronic ailments.
Are you in an environment where you can telework? Are you planning on going to large gatherings like church?
According to the World Health Organization, about 3/4 of the people in mainland China who were diagnosed have recovered. For people with mild illness, it can take about 2 weeks. For those with more severe illness, recovery could take between 3 and 6 weeks. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Joe Biden went into Tuesday's primaries riding a wave of voter confidence about his chances of victory in November, and that propelled him to wins in Michigan, Missouri, and Mississippi. Democratic primary voters in those states were more likely to think the former vice president could defeat President Trump in the general election compared with Biden's top rival, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. With a check on our weather, here's News 3's Kendall Kim.
Showers most likely in the morning. Drivers, please make sure you use extra caution during your commute. We're going to get these clearing skies throughout the day with highs around 66 degrees today in Las Vegas. We'll be tracking it for you with more updates throughout the day from News 3, your weather authority.
Cloudy, 55 in Las Vegas. I'm John Schaefer on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, Las Vegas only FM news talk station. With a look at the roads, here's John Michaels.
From the Letterman Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. A crash on the 95 northbound near Charleston, still a factor near the clearing stage, though. No heavy delays. There is light slowing from Eastern to the Spaghetti Bowl, and light slowing on the 95 in the West Valley, southbound from Craig to Lake Mead Boulevard. 15 northbound, slowing from the Southern Beltway up to Flamingo. 15 south slows from the Spaghetti Bowl to Flamingo. Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle home and auto insurance. Having a home is hard work, so get a quote at geico.com. Easy. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's a fit for you. MediShare, healthcare you can believe in.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
Every weeknight at 11, you can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera. News 3 live at 11.
I recently read a news story about Homey.com, and it really got me thinking about this new way to buy and sell homes. Homey.com combines tech with experienced local agents that don't charge percentage-based commissions. It's only a low, flat $2,500 fee to list your house. My friends at Homey.com are offering a special promo to our Vegas Take listeners. You'll get $250 off your listing fee. Just text JD to 88588. Text JD to 88588 for more information on Homey.com.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM, 101.5 FM, KDWN, every Sunday at 12 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12 p.m.
A Home for Spot Animal Rescue has a great Dog Junkies thrift store in Las Vegas with great deals for people and dogs alike. They're always accepting your donations of gently used or new items, and a charitable receipt is provided. The Dog Junkies thrift store is at 4324 North Decatur Boulevard, Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 4. For more information or to see the latest dogs up for adoption, go to ahomeforspot.com. That's a home, the number 4, spot.com.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Whether you enjoy classical, rock, or heavy metal, we all march to the beat of our own drummer or guitarist. That's why Vuse also offers you more ways to vape your way. It's available in 5 bold color options, 3 smooth tastes, and 3 nicotine levels. It's your vape, your way. Vuse, charge beyond. Underage sale prohibited.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Test drive new surf, wake, sport fishing, and pontoon boats at the On the Water Boat Show at Lake Mead Marina this weekend. New and used boats will be on display with huge savings. The best prices of the year happening at the On the Water Boat Show at Lake Mead Marina. Test drive new Yamaha jet boats, Bayliner and Sea Ray sport boats, Mastercraft and Heyday wake and surf boats, Bennington pontoons, and more. Test drive before you buy at the On the Water Boat Show this weekend, Thursday through Sunday at Lake Mead Marina. More info and directions at boatinglakemead.com.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades wider teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, what's up, Las Vegas? Good morning. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Wednesday, hump day, and it's really cold and rainy and crummy outside. It's just a coronavirus day. I'm sorry, that was just a horrible joke. Anyway, we got plenty to get to, plenty to talk about. A very special mystery guest will be joining us in studio in hour number 2. We will get to that. And Alex Jones, that's right, Mr. InfoWars himself, got arrested yesterday. We'll explain what he did, that and much, much more. But I want to start with, what's on everybody's minds, right? Everybody's talking about it, whether you live here in Las Vegas or you're across the world. It's the coronavirus. And we're going to get to how some people, in my personal opinion, are making idiotic decisions, particularly those who make decisions inside casinos that are shutting down buffets because of the coronavirus. Completely idiotic. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Yes, this is a serious thing. Yes, it shouldn't be mocked. Yes, people should be taking precautions, just like the flu. But we are not in a situation where a bunch of people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, or maybe even 50s, if your health is average and you get the coronavirus, you should be cured. The people that are losing their lives are those that have other health complications. Again, very similar to the flu. However, if I catch the flu, I'm going to the hospital. I'm going to take antibiotics. They don't have antibiotics for the coronavirus, and that is why people are freaking out a little bit. There's no cure for the coronavirus right now. That is why people are freaking out. So yes, it is a serious situation. But I'll tell you something else that is serious. When people start calling it the Chinese coronavirus, the Wuhan coronavirus. And I'm not talking about everyday people. I'm not talking about people in the media. I'm talking about politicians who are just using racist terms, and it damages people. I'm specifically talking about House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who yesterday drew very heavy criticism after he referred to the coronavirus in a tweet as the Chinese coronavirus, and now Democrats are demanding an apology. Of course, why would Republicans demand an apology? They support their own no matter what is said, correct? It's unbelievable. He said everything you need to know about the Chinese coronavirus can be found on one regularly updated website. First of all, there's no evidence to support that this is the Chinese coronavirus. No evidence to support that anybody did this intentionally. Representative Grace Meng, she is a Democrat out of New York. She said that she is embarrassed to be his colleague. She said she's disgusted, and she awaits his apology to the nation, the Chinese American, and others for his stupid comments. She said this labeling of the illness is embarrassing, disrespectful, offensive, and downright disgusting, and it's shameful. And guess what? She's right. California Democrat and former presidential candidate Kamala Harris also slammed McCarthy's remarks, tweeting, calling it the Chinese coronavirus isn't just racist, it's dangerous and incites discrimination against Asian Americans and Asian immigrants. I agree, it does. She also added, delete this tweet now. It's beneath the office of a member of Congress, let alone a party leader. And during a Tuesday hearing on the coronavirus, CDC Director Robert Redfield says the virus is no longer bounded by Chinese. Therefore, it would be inappropriate to call it the Chinese coronavirus. When it originated in Wuhan, China, Redfield says 99% of the cases that occurred outside of China. This isn't China. Right now, the epicenter, he said, the new China is Europe. And McCarthy is not the only lawmaker over the past week to tie the virus to the region where the strain originated. Representative Paul Gosar out of Arizona, not too far from here, also came under fire after calling it the Wuhan virus. He said, I am announcing that I, along with 3 of my senior staff, are officially under self-quarantine after sustained contact with a person at CPAC who has since been hospitalized with the Wuhan virus. What is wrong with some of these morons? These are the people that are running our country, and they have no idea what they're saying, no idea what they're talking about. It's insane. McCarthy is nothing more than a buffoon, and a racist buffoon at that. This is not the Chinese coronavirus. Stop it with your nonsense. Do you know that there are some people now that are buying guns? Sales are skyrocketing among Asian Americans who fear the coronavirus-related attacks could come up against them because of idiots like McCarthy who call it the Chinese coronavirus. Again, these are the people that are running our country. And oh yeah, speaking of the people that run our country, Mike Pence, did he do a jerk circle yesterday? Did he try to pray this coronavirus away? Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. There's no photos to prove that, only a photo from last week. But this is something that is just incredible to me. It's absolutely incredible to me. Mike Pence said that he and Trump will continue to shake hands after they said the exact opposite a few days before. Pence and other administration officials held a press briefing at the White House. They stood in front of a printed graphic that laid out the best practices of avoiding contracting the coronavirus. And among those suggestions were considering adjusting or postponing large meetings or gatherings and stop handshaking. Listen to what Mike Pence said yesterday at the White House.
As the president.
Go ahead.
Look, as the president has said, in our line of work, you shake hands when someone wants to shake your hand. And I expect the president will continue to do that. I'll continue to do it. What this is a broad recommendation for Americans. But a really good recommendation is to wash your hands often. And all the experts tell me that while people want to get the various sanitizing lotions, washing your hands with hot soap and water for 20 seconds is just as good as any lotion you can buy.
Why does he keep talking about lotions? Does Mike Pence use a lot of lotions in the bedroom? Why does he keep using the term lotion? It's just weird to me. Why can't you say hand sanitizer? Why does he keep saying lotion? I don't know, it's just weird to me, that's all. Is he allowed to buy those lotions without his wife? That's what I'd like to know. Anyway, just weird. Pence is just a really weird, dumb guy. I'm sorry, he just is. And here's proof of that. They just said to not shake people's hands the day before. Do we realize how stupid this guy is? They just held a press conference. They just said, don't shake people's hands. And he just said in that clip, he's going to shake people's hands. Do we not understand how dumb this guy is? Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, what an idiot Mike Pence is. I just wish him and his lotions would go pray somewhere and just get the hell away and just shut up. He should have nothing to do with what's going on with this coronavirus. Grab your lotions, Pence. Grab your prayer lotions in your jerk circle and get the hell out of the White House. Get out of Washington. Get out of politics. It makes no sense to me at all. Oh, hold on a second here. Wait. I believe we have Rush Limbaugh. Rush wants to chime in on this. Rush, do you have a problem calling this the Chinese coronavirus? What do you have to say about this? Okay, I get the picture. You know what? You know what? Let's just give that guy the Medal of Freedom. He deserves an award for that. That was great. And then we wonder why in this country some say there are racists here. We have McCarthy, one of the leaders of the party, who's calling it the Chinese coronavirus, when there's no evidence to back that up. And even if there was, what an insulting thing to say, to say that the Chinese people created this virus on purpose. It's absurd. Doesn't make any sense. And now we have the Vice President of the United States with conflicting things. The Vice President, Mike Pence, just telling the American people in a press conference that shouldn't shake people's hands. And now he's saying he's going to still go to all these campaign rallies and he and the president are going to shake people's hands. Do you not have a problem with that? Do you not have a problem with the vice president not getting his information right and confusing people? Do you have a problem with Republicans calling it the Chinese coronavirus? Do you think that's racist, or do you think it's just fine? Not insulting to Asian Americans at all. And now we are learning that gun sales are soaring among Asian Americans because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to be blamed for the coronavirus because people like McCarthy are spreading that word around. Do we remember after 9/11 when Muslims were afraid all over the country, people that had nothing to do with Al-Qaeda, nothing to do with 9/11, but Muslims are being assaulted across the country for no reason, for just being Muslims. And now Asian Americans are afraid. Asian Americans are afraid because of idiots like McCarthy and other irresponsible racist Republicans that are calling it the Chinese coronavirus and spreading lies. The number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation is 702-257-5396. Again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, give us a buzz. Your thoughts on this, 702-257-5396. Your thoughts on the vice president with mixed messages saying, don't shake people's hands, and then 24 hours later saying he will shake people's hands. Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with Republicans going out there calling it the Chinese coronavirus, not apologizing for it, blaming the Chinese people when there's absolutely no proof to suggest that? Do you have a problem with that? 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396, is the number to call. Let's start off with Eddie. Eddie, you are first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Yes, well, it's a scientific fact that most flus start in China, but I've heard the term German measles to describe rubella. I mean, they use the term Russian roulette to describe the suicide game, a Mexican standoff, going Dutch on a date, welshing on a bet, so on and so forth. I mean, it's just one of these things where everyone's so quick to call someone a racist. It did come from China.
Okay, so let me just read.
Work on their health standards.
Okay,
I mean,
Eddie.
They're back 100 years when it comes to their food safety.
Eddie, let's just talk about this specific virus, okay? I'm giving you the words of the CDC director, Robert Redfield, who knows a lot more about what's going on than me or you, okay? He said that the virus is no longer bounded by China. He said it would be inappropriate to call it the Chinese coronavirus. He said while it originated in Wuhan, China, 99% of the cases that occurred outside of China. He said this isn't China. Right now, the new China is Europe. He also called it irresponsible to call it the Chinese coronavirus. So what would you say to him?
So I'd say it's somebody who's probably made a lot of money on deals with China over the years. It's okay to call it German measles or Russian roulette.
I just said,
okay. You didn't respond to any of my points.
No.
Mexican standoff.
The reason why
Eskimo
okay,
kiss.
all right, Eddie.
There's all sorts of stuff.
Appreciate the call, Eddie. Have a nice day. I just said I'm not talking about I'm talking about this specific situation. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, Brian, how you doing today?
Good, man. What's on your mind?
Two things quickly about the shaking hand thing. Can I just mention something about that? Is that okay?
Yeah. Go ahead.
People are ripping people off, charging ridiculous prices for hand sanitizer. Just take a bottle of alcohol, mix a teaspoon of liquid soap with it, and you got the best hand sanitizer in the world. 80% alcohol or up, and there you go. But there are a lot of people that probably from touching different things and will spread the virus. But that's a simple homemade formula that will stop it dead.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, I'd rather do that than pray it off like Mike Pence.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
Here's something else. Now they're saying the buffets in Vegas are going to start shutting.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that coming up next segment, Steve. Trust me when I tell you I have some very strong opinions on that. So just hang tight on that one.
One last note, Brian. We can't blame the Chinese. We don't know exactly what this is all about.
Exactly.
It's affecting everybody.
Exactly.
Try to all work together and solve it. That's the best thing we can do.
I agree, and I don't think we should call it the Chinese coronavirus. Steve, good call. I appreciate it. Good to hear from you. Again, that number, 257-5396. We're talking about Mike Pence a few days ago telling people not to shake hands. Then he holds a press conference yesterday and showing no leadership qualities at all and pure stupidity, says that he will continue to shake hands and Donald Trump will continue to shake hands. You want to talk about the definition of a lack of leadership and stupidity? Mike Pence is your guy. Join the jerk circle with Mike Pence, 257-5396. Let's go to Paul. Paul, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Well, first of all, let me tell you why, in my opinion, it is not racist. If it was called the UK virus or the United States virus, would that be racist?
Where is it being called that?
It's not, but it's just because China, their race is called Chinese. If they said it was,
but we have the CDC,
the virus from China.
Well, here's why I think it's racist. I can only give you my reasons why I think it is. You have the CDC director who's saying it should not be called the Chinese coronavirus. You have the CDC director calling it irresponsible. He's saying that 99% of these cases occurred outside of China. So when the CDC director says that, and our own politicians are not following what he says, and they're
that
calling
doesn't make it racist.
Oh, I do.
I hope you'll let me explain. And the reason it may be wrong, but it's not racist. There's a slur that is used towards Chinese people, and I'm pretty sure we all know what it is, and I'm not going to say it. But if they use that slur and then said virus, then it would be racist.
You're blaming okay, but here
I'm not blaming anybody.
Okay, listen.
All I'm trying to say is it's not racist.
Okay,
all
well, I understand.
If it was the United States virus, it wouldn't be racist.
Okay, but here's where we disagree. I understand what you're saying, Paul, but here's where we disagree. You're blaming a nation and a nationality for this virus.
Not a nationality, a nation.
Okay, well, you're blaming the Chinese
virus. We're so diversified that it wouldn't be racist. But I have a cure for it.
You're blaming the Chinese people. How is that not blaming a nationality?
I'm not blaming the Chinese people.
I'm not saying you personally. I'm saying if you call it the Chinese coronavirus.
It's not blaming the Chinese people. They're saying where it originated.
But the CDC director alone is saying it's not the case. Why are they not listening to him?
Then it's not racism. It's bad information.
Well, what's ignorance? Ignorance is racism, right? When you're ignorant.
No, it's not. No, it is ignorant to be racist. But if you're ignorant, doesn't mean you are one.
Okay, so when you blame a nation, and they shouldn't be blamed. What is the reason why McCarthy is doing this? Give me the reason.
If they blamed us for it, it wouldn't be racist.
You don't think McCarthy knows? Okay, but you don't think McCarthy knows what the CDC director said? You don't think he heard those comments?
He may have, but it still doesn't make him a racist. It makes him a fool for giving out bad information.
All right, well, listen.
Let me tell you what. I've had the coronavirus. And you know how you cure it? Just add lime, baby.
All right, well, listen, Paul, we could agree to disagree. That's fine, my friend. I appreciate the phone call, okay? All right, 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Trevor. Trevor, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Yeah, I got something I want to say to Mike Pence. It puts the lotion.
Thank you for the call, Trevor. We appreciate that. 257-5396. Let's go to Rick. Rick, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's up, Rick? 257-5396 is the number to call. We're talking about Mike Pence. We're talking about the fact he told people to not shake hands, right? He said it. He said it in a press conference a few days ago. And then yesterday, he says he's going to continue to shake people's hands, and the president is going to continue to shake people's hands. Do we not have a problem with that? This is supposed to be the man that is in charge of the coronavirus. 257-5396. Let's go to Robert. Robert, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Yeah, good morning. Hey, listen, I have to agree kind of with that last caller, too, though. I can't see calling it Chinese. You call it a Hunan virus. You're not blaming the people, but you're giving it a name where it started. And just because you're saying, well, now it's in Europe, it shouldn't be named that. What's wrong with naming it where it started? It's not racist.
Because the CDC director says it's irresponsible. The CDC director, who's Robert Redfield, is the one who said that it is not bounded by China, therefore it's inappropriate. He said that 99% of the cases are outside of China.
The only reason it's inappropriate because we have such a big deficit and China owns the USA and they don't want to insult them. That's what it is.
I don't think that has anything to do with it, with all due respect, Robert. I just think it's irresponsible for a politician to make a statement like that. And now there are people, Asian Americans, who are, buying guns because they're in fear. They're afraid. And in a way, Robert, this reminds me a little bit of 9/11. The days and the weeks and the months after 9/11, there were a lot of Muslims in this country that were in fear for their lives. In fact, some of them were physically assaulted because there are a lot of dumb, ignorant people out there that are going to listen to what McCarthy says, and they're going to hold anger towards Asian Americans. You cannot deny that there are going to be some ignorant people in this country that are going to put all the blame on the Chinese people. And, you never know what could happen. That's the only thing I'm trying to say, Robert. Listen, for intelligent people or even semi-intelligent people, they're not going to blame, Asian Americans. But there are some people out there that will, and it's just dangerous verbiage. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And, and hopefully it's not going to get worse, but this is getting so overblown. I can remember when the swine flu was out there, and you hardly heard a peep about it compared to what's going on now. It's just crazy.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you, and there's some facts to that, and we're going to talk about that in the next segment. And you're right. I think it's going on both sides, Robert. I really do. I think that it's being overblown on one side, and then I think on the other side, I think some people are not taking it as serious as it should be. I think it's going on both sides. But, Robert, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks very much. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. We're going to take some more calls on the other side of the break. And yes, I am going to talk about how the MGM properties are now closing down buffets. It's absurd. Talk about the stupidity. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We'll get to that coming up. We're going to get to more of your calls at 702-257-5396. And again, that number to call is 702-257-5396. We'll get to all your calls, as I said, on the other side of the break. We're also talking about the Vice President of the United States. One day saying don't shake hands. The next day saying he's going to shake hands. The president's going to shake hands. You want to talk about a lack of leadership? Why does he keep bringing up the word lotion, too? Just bizarre. Anyway, we'll get to all your phone calls on the other side of the break. Take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. That's ZipRecruiter.com/search. ZipRecruiter.com/search.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien says China withheld critical information from the world about the coronavirus outbreak.
I think we could have dramatically curtailed what happened both in China and what's now happening across the world.
D.C. is recommending against events with large crowds. Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan says a ban on large crowds is coming from Governor Jay Inslee.
The governor, knows he needs to act. We know we need to act locally to really do what we can to prevent the spread of this virus.
The White House has ordered federal health officials to treat top-level coronavirus meetings as classified. The administration is considering restricting European travel. 67-year-old Harvey Weinstein has been sentenced to 23 years in prison for rape. Correspondent Jean Caceres reports a victim addressed the court.
She said that she is so grateful for the conviction because now he will not offend against anyone else.
On Wall Street, the Dow was down about 1,000 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
Slowing for the accident I-15 northbound at Russell Road, and also an accident reported on 15 southbound at Sahara. Slowing is from the Spaghetti Bowl. A nice recovery on the 215 Southern Beltway in southwest Las Vegas. No delays from the Durango curb inbound to I-15. Light slowing remains in the East Valley on the 215 Southern Beltway westbound off the 95 over to Green Valley Parkway. Heroin, meth, and opioids grip our community. It's time to wake up, Vegas, and protect those you care about. Visit wakeup-vegas.com for resources to change lives. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Every day in our community, tough breaks happen to honest folks. Layoffs happen to single parents. Evictions happen to families with babies. Empty bank accounts happen to hungry people. But thankfully, every day in our community, good people happen to bad things. Your sustaining monthly gift of just $25 doubles the Salvation Army's ability to assist our neighbors battling poverty and help them win. Join the fight for good at GiveWestwood.org. That's GiveWestwood.org, sponsored by the Salvation Army.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
You got hurt in an accident. You hired a lawyer. Now they're ignoring you.
Don't wait on your no-call, no-show lawyer.
We're Sam and Ash. Upgrade to us today.
We listen to you and are here for you.
And we will always return your calls.
But you do have to call us first. Do it now. Don't delay.
We're available day or night, 702-820-1234. 820-1234. Or visit samandash.com.
Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right.
March 1994, Schindler's List wins big at the Oscars. Michael Jordan takes up baseball. Justin Bieber enters the world, and Best Mattress opens its doors. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress. Celebrate our 26th anniversary with rollback prices on all the brands you know and trust. Our no-pressure sleep consultants make mattress shopping easy and enjoyable. Plus, pay no down and no interest for 24 months. Best price, best service, best selection, best mattress. Sleep easy, friends.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Wednesday. Well, pretty soon, if you're thinking about going down to some of those MGM properties and grabbing a nice buffet, it's going to be closed down. Yeah, that's right. Yesterday, MGM Resorts International announced it'll be temporarily closing the buffets at Aria, the Bellagio, MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, the Mirage, Luxor, and Excalibur. This will be effective on Sunday. I'll tell you, if they really wanted to make a great decision, they would have closed down the buffet at Circus 2 decades ago. Every time I go to that buffet, I get sick. If you want to do anything positive, close down the Circus buffet because I get the Circus flu, and that's not racist, ladies and gentlemen. I just do. But let me just explain real quickly how ridiculous I think this is. Hey, this is absurd. And by the way, for the record, MGM properties, They're not going to allow locals to park for free, though. They're still going to continue to charge people to park over there, which is a joke, and it's an embarrassment. It's why I don't gamble at any of their places anymore. But now they're closing down the buffets in fear of the coronavirus, they say. Yeah, and right. And a Caesars employee, by the way, was told to go home, at least one employee, for wearing latex gloves. Who are the people that are making these decisions? Like, what is it? A manager at one of the buffets says, hey, maybe we should shut these things down because of this coronavirus. Are you going to shut down the buffets because of the flu? You dummies. God, it's just so ridiculous, some of the decisions that MGM properties have made. It is so stupid. Now, Ocasio-Cortez, your favorite, is getting involved in this. She's now ripping the lack of business at some of these Chinese restaurants over the coronavirus concerns. She said, honestly, it sounds almost so silly to say, but there's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism. People are literally not going into these Chinese restaurants. They're not going to these Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. That's what Ocasio-Cortez says. Your thoughts on that? Your thoughts on Mike Pence as well. But here is some audio of Ocasio-Cortez talking about that very subject. People not going to Chinese restaurants over the coronavirus. Here's what she had to say.
Honestly, it sounds almost so silly to say, but there's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So,
well, that's Ocasio-Cortez for you. She certainly doesn't help her cause.
I've never heard a politician say straight up before in a statement.
She certainly doesn't help her cause as far as being extremely eloquent and intelligent when it comes to certain things. I don't know if people are racist, and that's why they're not. Maybe they're just a little afraid. Guys like McCarthy don't help when they call it the Chinese coronavirus, but maybe they're afraid. I don't know if that necessarily means because you don't want to go to a certain restaurant. Maybe they hear the dirty dining segments every Thursday on our show. It's possible. I wouldn't say that's racist.
I've been asking Darcy about that for the last month or so, and she said that business has been down for Chinese restaurants, and I'm not surprised that that's not the case. But if that's, who also is losing a lot of business is Corona. Is that racist?
No, I don't think that's racist. I think it's just people are dumb. That's what it comes down to. People, It's the same people. Listen, the people that are not buying the Corona beer are the same people that are closing down the MGM buffets. You people are stupid. You're dumb. Number to call, 702-257-5396. What do you guys think about this out there listening? What do you think about some of these buffets that are closing down in Las Vegas? I think it is completely idiotic. Yes, we should take this seriously. Yes, we should take precautions. Does that mean restaurants should be shutting down? Do we shut things down because of the flu? No, you call in, you get a sick day, you go to see the doctor, and if you're in okay health, you'll be just fine. It's just ridiculous. Now, with that being said, I'd be afraid for my family. I'd be afraid for my parents that are in their 70s. Yes, it's serious. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Morning.
What's up,
I
Brian?
just wanted to say, I disagree with most of what Brian says, but in this case, it's definitely hurting the Chinese people, and the reasons are, like you said, the food sales are down in the Chinese restaurants. Just the other day, I was in a store, saw an Asian guy coughing, and turned around, walked the other way.
Yeah, and that doesn't make you a racist.
Right, I would do the exact same thing.
It doesn't make you a racist.
Right.
Unfortunately, when you hear, and I don't blame you, Brian, quite frankly, when you hear people all over the place saying that it's the Chinese coronavirus, then you're going to be worried. And when you see an Asian American cough or sneeze, that's the first thing you're going to think of. Listen, Brian, I think that way even if someone's not Asian and I see someone coughing or sneezing.
Let's be honest. The virus originated in Wuhan, China, right? And it's zootonic, so it came because people were interacting with animals, and they were eating them, or they were doing something they probably shouldn't have been doing.
That's not 100%. We don't know that for a fact.
There's
so I don't want to
a very good
speculate.
chance that is the case.
Okay, well, I'm not going to
speculate. Now, I would have
speculate.
a much bigger problem if it was called the Mongoloid virus than the Chinese virus, but it did originate in Wuhan, China, Brian.
Yeah. Well, and then, Brian, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Would you stop shaking hands during the flu season?
I'll be honest with you. If I get the flu shot every year, so the answer is no. If I didn't get the flu shot, I'd be a little bit more careful. But I get the flu shot every single year because I've had the flu before and it's not fun, as you know, Brian. The point I'm trying to make, Brian, and by the way, I appreciate the phone call.
Yeah,
the
good
point,
call, Brian.
The point I'm trying to make here is this. Mike Pence, the other day, said that you shouldn't shake people's hands. You should take precautions. And then yesterday, Jerk Circle Pence decided to get up in front of a microphone and say he'll continue to shake hands and the president will continue to shake hands. I have a problem with misinformation. I have a problem with confusing the American people. I have a serious issue with that. 257-5396. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, I agree with you on the boycotting those casinos, but I disagree with you on the flu thing. There was the Mexican swine flu, there was the Spanish flu, there was the Russian flu, and the German measles.
Okay. What does that have to do with the coronavirus?
Well, you're saying it's the Chinese.
He's just saying there's been a lot of viruses that have been labeled by the country they originated in.
I understand what he's saying.
And so, therefore, it shouldn't be considered racist because there's precedence. It's happened several times before to different countries.
So I understand what you're saying. But again, I'm repeating myself over and over again. The CDC director says it's inappropriate to use that term because it's not factually accurate. You have plenty of Asian Americans that are in fear. Gun sales are way up with Asian Americans. And then you have a lot of Asians in this country that are hurting financially with their businesses. It's unfair to them.
Everybody is. This is a deep state ploy. You figured that out.
What do you mean it's a deep state ploy? Explain to me exactly what you mean.
The place. The supply chain is they're gonna feel the effect of this.
Explain to me what you mean by deep state. Tell everybody what the deep state is, please.
The deep state.
Yeah, tell our listeners what you mean.
Trump isn't one of them. He's trying to flesh them out.
Okay, that's not what I asked you. Explain to me what the definition is of the deep state, please.
Central banking, all that.
So are you blaming Democrats? Or because a lot of people that use that term.
There's some on both sides.
Okay, because a lot of.
the perfect example is when they put in, when they had everybody endorse Biden like the same minute. I mean, that should tell you something.
I don't know. So are you blaming Democrats or not? Are you blaming Democrats for the coronavirus? Are you saying?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, a lot of people that use.
They're both. They're both.
I'm just saying, Chuck, I understand what you're saying, Chuck, but the reason why I ask you is because there are some idiots, not you, there are some idiots that use the term deep state, and they want to use that term and blame Democrats and liberals for everything, and I have a problem with that. Now, listen, you're right.
Romney's one of them. He's a Republican.
Well, listen, there are people on both sides that are politicizing this. And I don't agree with it on either side. Let me be clear on that, Chuck. I appreciate the phone call. There are some whack jobs, every day that use the term deep state. Like the idiot who from Infowars who was just arrested for DUI. We'll get to that coming up in hour number 3. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Andy. Andy, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Andy?
Hey, guys. Hey, so I agree with you on the whole buffet thing. It's just stupid. I think one easy fix on that is you get the people that actually work there. They can actually serve the people their food. That's one way of kind of minimizing, passing germs.
I agree, Andy, but I don't even think you have to go that far.
No, you don't. But I mean, if they want to take caution, they don't have to go to the extreme and close them completely.
So can I ask you a question, Andy? And you're right, by the way. I agree with you.
The question is, when you touch a surface and you have the coronavirus, how long is that virus sitting on that surface? And if it's a multiple hour period, then I don't think shutting down the buffets is a totally unreasonable decision as long as they don't shut down the best buffet in Las Vegas.
Why not shut down? The question is, how often do they clean those areas?
Right, exactly.
Here's a question, Andy. What do you think is more dangerous to people, a buffet or people touching chips? But I don't hear them closing down the casinos. Let me tell you something. Chips are some of the dirtiest things that you can touch.
They definitely are.
I don't even
heard. They wash them like once a year.
I haven't heard of any casino shutting down all the table games. Have you?
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, because
I agree.
Because they're idiots, that's why.
What might be going on with the chips is they're so dirty already that they're actually, the current viruses they have on them are actually overriding the coronavirus.
Do you know how many times I've touched my crotch and then gambled? Actually, I won't. That's a horrible joke. Andy, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for calling in, man.
Great call.
Yeah,
awful joke.
Yeah, how many of these casinos are shutting down their table games? No, it's not happening because they're greedy idiots. That's why. And I'm specifically talking about MGM properties. Explain to me, MGM, why you're shutting down your buffets, but the casinos remain open. The slot machines are still working properly. Everybody can touch those slot machines and eat and do whatever they want. anybody can touch those casino chips. It's ridiculous. 257-5396. Let's go to Brady. Brady, you're next.
What's up, Brady?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Problem is with this virus, it's an aerosol virus. Those droplets, once that virus is in the air, it's like a minuscule droplet, and it can stay to 6 to 8 hours wherever it falls onto. So we have a big problem with it. And I happened to watch this morning the House Oversight Committee, and Dr. Fauci was on talking about this virus, and I was literally scared. I won't say the word, but the percentage rate of people, mortality rate on this virus is 30 times more deadly than the average flu. So when you're seeing these places like New York and Massachusetts, you're seeing outbreaks triple overnight. It's exponentially happening now. You're seeing the beginning of the virus. We have a lot of stuff coming ahead of us.
Brady, I think it's okay to be concerned. I think it's okay to take. Hold on, let me just finish. I think it's okay to be concerned. I think it's okay to take this seriously, Brady. There's nothing wrong with that. However, if you can't find me one person under the age of 50 that has died from this virus, then that would lead me to believe that if you're in decent health, you're going to make it. You're going to be okay.
Oh, there's plenty in China that were under 50 that died. The mortality rate, the ones in Italy, the average rate was over 80. But in China, it was average middle-aged guys that were army material that were dying. So it was striking middle-aged males at a higher rate there.
Well,
so
I think the problem is
got to watch the statistics because it's all over the board right now.
Well, I understand.
And I will say this: the World Health Organization did just announce that it has classified the coronavirus outbreak as an actual pandemic. That just happened a couple minutes ago.
Brady, I appreciate the phone call. Actually, one of Brady's better calls.
Oh, that was probably his best call ever.
257.
He has some fear instilled in him.
257.
Clearly.
Well, listen, it's okay to take this serious. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Michelle. Michelle, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, Michelle?
Hey, what's up, Michelle?
Hi, Brian.
What's going on,
Hi,
Michelle?
Dee.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, it's not racist to call it the Wuhan or the Chinese flu because immediately when you said that this morning, I thought of the Hong Kong flu and I thought of the Spanish flu.
Every situation is different.
That's where it originated. So we should call it. How about calling it something cute like the Wu flu? Well, kind of rhymes.
Again, this is the point I'm trying to bring up, Michelle, and I think this is important. There's a reason why gun sales are soaring among Asian Americans. There's a reason why many Asian Americans are hurting financially right now. And the whole
travel industry is hurting. It's not just the Chinese
here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see in this country what happened back 9/11. If you recall,
it's not going to happen.
Okay, well, how do you know that? How do you know that?
The Asian people are afraid of buying guns. I don't believe that. I don't think they're out there in fear. I think anybody in the restaurant industry, like a lot of Asians are, they're going to hurt. This is impacting everything: the airlines and the hotels and the food industry. Now, I got sick, Brian. I want to share that with you. It started on Saturday, so you're welcome to ask me any questions about having the flu in 2020. I've been agonizing. My body has been through hell on earth. But I did not have the two symptoms that they said the coronavirus to be aware of. That's shortness of breath. I've never experienced that, and I never experienced a high fever.
Right.
But it has been horrific.
Well, I experienced.
So now I'm coming up on day 5. This is day 5, and I'm finally feeling better.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, me too.
I experience shortness of breath usually on a nightly basis. If I'm out with a girl or something, I experience. I'm in bad shape. Well, I'm in bad shape.
That's my man right there.
Well, Michelle, I'm glad you're feeling better. Please take care of yourself, and we appreciate the phone call.
That's a good point. In about 98% of cases of the coronavirus, there's a high fever of about 102. So if you are experiencing those symptoms and you don't have a fever, the chance they won't even test you for the coronavirus. Under those circumstances.
Going back to the buffets, I mean, really, what idiot decided to make the decision to close down the buffets but keep the casinos open? Listen, I think it's an overreaction, but if you want to close down your entire casino I think it's an overreaction, but at least be consistent about it. Don't shut down your buffets and then keep the employee buffet open and then keep the casino open and let everybody touch the chips and let everybody press those slot machine buttons, because every single time somebody puts in a bill, there's a good chance you're going to get it. You're greedy and your stupidity frightens me. That's what frightens me. Keep charging people to park locally. It gets me angry.
You're saying go all in, just shut down everything. Don't try to make it look like you're making a small effort when you're really not making any of an effort.
Yeah, it makes them look like a-holes. That's what it does.
Because the chips are
the dirtiest thing you can
extremely
touch.
dirty compared to that. Okay, that makes sense.
Absolutely. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Lewis?
Hey guys, you know what? Great point about the casino chips, but you're asking a question that you already know the answer to, so why continue to talk about that?
Well, I'll tell you why, Lewis, because this is what we do on this show. I try, if I feel strongly about an issue, I'm going to call people out on it. Doesn't mean they're going to change their policy. Doesn't mean anything is going to change. But it would just be nice if once we could have an industry and a casino. Well, let's be honest, it's all about greed. Let's call it for what it is. They try to be the good guys, and you know what? We should call them out on it. Some idiot decided to say, some brilliant moron decided to say, hey, let's shut down those buffets. Let's act like we're actually trying to do something. It is absolutely ridiculous because I guarantee you can catch more diseases by touching those chips with viruses going around than you would with food.
And again, I'm not going to call it greed. I'm going to call it capitalism. They all definitely practice high-end capitalism, and they have, and that's why Vegas exists. That's why Vegas is turning into the city that it is. And the casinos are a large part of that, and you can't deny that. But I wouldn't call it greed, Brian.
Right.
You don't think it's greed?
You know what? Why don't you get someone on from MGM? Because I can guarantee.
I would love to.
It's probably a cost-cutting effort. Casinos buffets are too expensive. They lose money anyway.
I'll tell you what, Lewis.
Even more money being as expensive as they are.
Lewis,
that's not why I called.
Okay, quickly, go ahead.
You, Brian, are politicizing this as much as the mainstream media is, and
Really?
if you will allow me to finish, I would appreciate it.
Okay, please, but I'll give you a minute. We got a lot of other people on hold.
You're talking about Pence, and if you listen, you've got access to the clip. He says, the president says, in our line of business, we shake hands. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
Which is ridiculous.
Well, but it could be ridiculous or not. And he also specified that they're guidelines for the general public. And you are flipping it.
No, I'm not flipping it. Excuse me, sir. With all, excuse me, sir. No. With all due respect, when the vice president, whether it's in your line of business or not, and by the way, nobody says the vice president or the president has to shake hands. Okay. Whether it's in your line of business to shake hands or not, the president and the vice president need to lead by example, and they need to be consistent with their thoughts. When you tell people not to shake hands, and then 24 hours later you say you're going to shake hands, it's called mixed messages and a lack of leadership. Let's go to Kirk. Kirk, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Kirk?
Kirk, are you there? Kirk? Kirk, I'm sorry, we didn't hear you there at the beginning. Go ahead, Kirk.
Yeah, maybe it's a big hoax, right? Do you know anyone with it? I don't know anyone with it. Who knows anyone?
People have died with it, Kirk. What do you mean?
So, oh yeah, what's their names?
What's their names? There have been
How about
reported.
it's a big hoax? Well, you report people die all the time, but they're reports. I mean, do you
So for the record,
and you
Kirk.
got the CDC closing Coachella, closing this, closing that. They're
Kirk.
trying to scare us. Come on, see through the light.
Okay, Kirk.
It's a big hoax. It's
Kirk.
not real.
Okay, Kirk.
Wake up.
You gonna let me ask you a question?
Yeah,
Kirk,
go ahead.
For the record, you're telling me you think there is no coronavirus and it's all a hoax. Is that what you're saying?
I have reason to believe that it's a big
And
hoax.
what is your reason to believe that? Please be specific.
Well, the thing is that they want us in fear. The thing is, you have SARS.
What is your reason? I don't want to hear they want to put us.
They want us in fear.
Who wants you in fear? Who?
CDC, the bankers,
Why?
the Rothschild family.
Why?
Because they don't want us to be free human beings with our own imagination.
So they decided.
When we're in fear, we're not vibrating at our highest potential. We're in fear. We're easier.
And why does the CDC not want you in your highest potential? What would be their reason for that?
Well, they've always vaccines. Come on, you put a vaccine in someone, you're.
So those people that are sick. So okay, so let me ask you this:
That
those.
should be an epidemic.
So those.
Right?
Okay, so let me ask you:
Every time they increase
30
the vaccine,
people.
increases autism.
Okay.
Vaccines, the biggest coincidence on earth.
All right, so those people that are 6 feet underneath the ground, that medical.
Supposedly.
What do you mean supposedly?
They
There are
could have died
families.
from who knows what? They could have died from a
Okay,
flu.
so you're telling
right?
me that.
And then they, the coronavirus was
So
there.
you're telling me that
now
doctors.
we're labeling it the flu.
Okay, so Kirk,
We're labeling it
you're
the
telling me that
coronavirus and not
all
the
the
flu.
doctors and all the medical professionals are lying because the CDC doesn't want you to be at your fullest potential. Is
No,
that
I
your
don't know.
position,
All the
Kirk?
doctors aren't saying that.
The
It's coming
doctors
straight
that have
from the
worked on,
CDC's mouth.
the doctors that have worked on all these people that tragically have lost their lives have put on the medical report that not only did they have coronavirus, but
Well,
they
it's
died from
happened in Chicago
coronavirus.
All right, but coroners have lied before because in
So
Chicago.
do you believe
they
in
had the
AIDS or the flu, or is that all cancer? Does cancer exist?
I believe, sure, AIDS is a low,
How about
your
cancer?
immune system's
Does
low.
cancer exist?
Yeah, of course. Cancer
So why does cancer exist but the coronavirus not exist?
If you go on a plant-based diet, cancer will be extremely low.
So
the cancer rates would be extremely low.
All right, Kirk. I will say this: the CDC. I will say this: the CDC is definitely doing their job because your brain is certainly not working at the highest potential. I will absolutely say that. I will agree with you. Let's go to Joel. Joel,
Yeah,
you're
good call,
next.
Kirk.
Joel, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Joel?
Hey, with regard to the MGM, I would be willing to bet a week's pay that the decision to close the buffet came from their insurance company, that their major issue is liability, and they don't want to be sued.
So, Joel, if that's the, you might be right, Joel, but if that's the case, then why wouldn't they shut down the entire casino altogether?
You're asking a question I have no answer to, but
you understand why I asked that.
I'm a small business owner. Liability insurance or liability is my biggest issue. And I would just assume, I don't know that this is true, but that it's their insurance company that said, look, this is a big liability for us, having all that open food, people walking through, the whole deal, and that maybe it would be a good idea to shut down the buffet.
Joel,
especially with
Joel, you might be right.
With it being an air-based virus, and you're not. I mean, you've seen a lot of lawsuits based on buffets and food poisoning, et cetera. So you haven't really seen a lot of lawsuits over the last, we'll call it 50 or 100 years, based on chips being dirty and someone getting sick from that. So I think that based on that track record, it actually does make sense that the insurance company got involved and said, this is our biggest liability, let's take care of this. And also, buffets don't make money. That was a good point as well.
Again, if that is their biggest liability, then I would make the argument that playing in a casino, touching the chips while people are sneezing and coughing, touching a slot machine while people are slobbering all over a slot machine is certainly just as big of a health risk, maybe more, than a buffet.
But while that may be true, lawsuits have not been filed predicated on that premise.
Well, lawsuits have been, as far as buffet, is bad food. Maybe a food that somebody ate that went bad, food poisoning. But I think it's completely and utterly ridiculous, and I think it's just another example of casinos being greedy and wanting to be involved, wanting to do something. All right, we have a very special guest when we come back, JD. His name is Doug Basham. Does a show every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. We have a lot of Republicans on this show. We have a lot of people on the right that I do battle with on a regular basis. Well, Doug's on the other side of things. He's on the left. Should be a great conversation. Doug Basham coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take.
Test drive new surf, wake, sport fishing, and pontoon boats at the On the Water Boat Show at Lake Mead Marina this weekend. New and used boats will be on display with huge savings. The best prices of the year happening at the On the Water Boat Show at Lake Mead Marina. Test drive new Yamaha jet boats, Bayliner and Sea Ray sport boats, Mastercraft and Heyday wake and surf boats, Bennington pontoons, and more. Test drive before you buy at the On the Water Boat Show this weekend, Thursday through Sunday at Lake Mead Marina. More info and directions at boatinglakemead.com.
For over 20 years, Wheel of Fortune slots have paid out more than $3 billion in jackpots and made over 1,000 millionaires. Play Wheel of Fortune today.
Wheel of Fortune is a registered trademark of Califon Production Incorporated. All rights reserved.
V is for victory, except on Saturdays when V is for veterans. That's Veterans Talk, the Forgotten Promise. Join us every Saturday from noon to 1.
Veterans Talk every Saturday at noon on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
I'm attorney Glenn Lerner. After being a personal injury attorney for 28 years, I've learned a lot of things about insurance companies, and there are a few things I trust more than them. For example, I trust a rabid cobra protecting her babies. I trust a hungry grizzly bear with a steak in my pocket, and I trust a shark in my hot tub.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Get the picture? Hurt in a wreck and need a check? You know who you can trust. Or Lerner and Rowe.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 877-1500.
Scott Guido, managing attorney. Kevin Rowe is only licensed in Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, and Illinois.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Special report, coronavirus pandemic. The World Health Organization has now declared the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. The director, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The WHO says the outbreak has been made worse by a failure of all nations to properly respond. The CDC's head, Dr. Robert Redfield, says the coronavirus outbreak has put a spotlight on a problem that has been growing for decades in the U.S.
We've underinvested in the public health infrastructure of this nation. As many of you know, CDC's funding that we get from Congress, about 70% of it goes out to local and state, territorial, and tribal health departments. They're the backbone of our health system.
New Rochelle, New York Mayor Noam Bramson has a 1 square mile part of his community in containment. He says the state is taking over testing for the virus.
Our ability to monitor the spread of the disease will be substantially augmented.
I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. A crash with injury sustained reported on Valley View north of Sahara, and a crash at Arville at Flamingo. Watch for slowing in the area, and an injury accident. This is going to be at Alexander at Lamb Boulevard. Fire crews on scene there, taking a look at the 215 with light slowing that remains on the Southern Beltway westbound between the 95 and Green Valley Parkway. Switch to Liberty Mutual Insurance today, and you can customize your coverage so you only pay for what you need. Liberty Mutual Insurance. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's a fit for you. MediShare, healthcare you can believe in.
I recently read a news story about Homey.com, and it really got me thinking about this new way to buy and sell homes. Homey.com combines tech with experienced local agents that don't charge percentage-based commissions. It's only a low, flat $2,500 fee to list your house. My friends at Homey.com are offering a special promo to our Vegas Take listeners. You'll get $250 off your listing fee. Just text JD to 88588. Text JD to 88588 for more information on Homey.com.
It's your friend Sean Hannity, and with the election on the horizon, you've got a lot of important choices ahead of you. But let's not talk politics for just a second and focus on your home. If you're about to sell your home, before you throw your money away, listen very carefully. Contact the agent I personally trust, Rick and Terry Brinkus of Keller Williams Realty, the marketplace. And Rick and Terry have averaged over 250 sales per year. Now get this, for 25 straight years. Now, they understand the headache and the stress that comes with selling a home, and they know how to eliminate the drama. In fact, they can help set a price and a deadline you agree to. Now, if that deadline passes, they will buy your home. Real estate mogul and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran only recommends Rick and Terry Brinkus in Las Vegas. And if I needed to sell a home in Southern Nevada, well, no question, I'd call the Brinkus team. Call the Brinkus team today at 702-456-5959, online at thebrinkusteam.com.
License number BS 16186.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Whether you enjoy classical, rock, or heavy metal, we all march to the beat of our own drummer or guitarist. That's why Views also offers you more ways to vape your way. It's available in 5 bold color options, 3 smooth tastes, and 3 nicotine levels. It's your vape, your way. Views, charge beyond. Underage sale prohibited.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back to the Vegas Take. Rolling out the red carpet for hour number 2, baby. Glad you could join us talking about the coronavirus and how the MGM properties, many of them are going to be shutting down their buffets. Mike Pence, of course, one day saying, don't shake anybody's hands. Next day saying, well, we're going to shake people's hands. It's just misinformation, misguided, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. And we have a very special guest in studio that is joining us. His name is Doug Basham, does a show here weekly on KDWN, been in radio for a long time. He does a show 2 to 4 p.m. And, we have a lot of people in studio that are on the right that I get into good battles with, but rarely do we have people in studio that lean way to the left. So, Doug, I appreciate you being here. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Thanks for having me.
We have a lot of subjects to get to, Doug. I want to start with this. Recall there was an auto worker yesterday that got into it with Joe Biden about gun control. And Joe Biden points his finger in this guy's face. Now, this auto worker has misinformation because Joe Biden his position is he doesn't want to take everybody's guns away and abolish the Second Amendment.
Right.
His position is very similar to Beto O'Rourke, which I think is a fair position, and it's let's take away those weapons of war. Let's take away some of those assault weapons, those machine guns, so to speak. That's Joe Biden's position. So while this auto worker was wrong, I also don't like the fact that Joe Biden saying you're full of you-know-what. I don't like the fact that Joe Biden points the finger in his face. I don't want to see that either. I don't think Joe Biden handled it the right way. For example, I don't think Barack Obama would have been that aggressive and would have handled it that way. But I think this is another example of like a Joe the Plumber kind of guy. So I want to play you a little bit of audio. This is Jerry Wayne, and I want you to respond to it. The Michigan worker who confronted Joe Biden over guns. He was on Fox and Friends this morning. What a shocker. Here is Jerry Wayne in his own words. Do we have that audio? Is it not playing properly? Okay. Well, I guess it's not playing properly. So Jerry Wayne, the Michigan worker who confronted Joe Biden over guns, basically got in his face. Joe Biden gets in his face. We'll have that audio for you in just a few minutes. Okay, I think we have it now. All right, so this is Jerry Wayne, Michigan worker who confronted Joe Biden over guns. Here it is.
I also asked him how he wanted to get the vote of the working man when a lot of us wield arms. We bear arms, and we like to do that. And if he wants to give us work and take our guns, I don't see how he's going to get the same vote.
All right, so what's your reaction to that, Doug?
My overall take on it is that the whole debate on gun control has been so poisoned by what has become Trump's state-run propaganda ministry, in that we can no longer have a discussion about common sense gun laws. It's like, you want to take our guns. And no, that's not it. And that's not the position of any Democrat. They, like you said, they want to get the weapons of war off the street. They're not coming for everybody's guns. A lot of Democrats are gun owners.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. So why do you think this is just a situation where this guy is just not informed?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think he's just trying to stir trouble? Why do you think he brings this up?
The fact that he appeared on Fox today signals to me that he spends too much time listening to Trump's state-run propaganda ministry.
So is it a shocker that this guy, Jerry Wayne, who doesn't sound like he's extremely intelligent, by the way, goes on Fox and Friends? Now, I do want to play this for you because this is why this gentleman feels like Joe Biden wants to take all your guns away, because he didn't understand clearly what Joe Biden was saying on the debate stage. So this is a rally with Beto O'Rourke talking about voters like Jerry. Have a listen to this piece of audio right here.
I want to make something clear. I'm going to guarantee you this is not the last year seeing this guy. You're going to take care of the gun problem with me. You're going to be the one that leads this effort. I'm counting on you.
Okay, so there's nothing really wrong with that statement.
No.
There's nothing wrong with what Joe Biden just said. But this guy, Jerry Wayne, this Michigan worker, is referencing those comments. I don't understand the correlation. Joe Biden's not saying he's going to take all your guns away.
No, but the correlation is these people have been so brainwashed into thinking that Democrats are going to come for all your guns. that it doesn't matter when they say, no, we just want weapons of war. Then they go to, yeah, well, that's just the start.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Listen, I know that you are very anti-Trump, as am I. And I try not to name call. I try not to call Donald Trump names.
I specialize in it.
Well, I know you do. I call him a narcissist. I think he's an egomaniac. I think he's just a really bad guy.
And worst of all, he's a sociopath.
JD, would you agree with that? Do you think Donald Trump is a sociopath?
I don't think he's a sociopath, Brian. He definitely has some elements of narcissism in his personality. He has a giant ego. He's quite arrogant at times. He doesn't like to apologize. I think that he perceives apologies as weakness, but I don't think he's a sociopath or a pathological liar.
Good grief. A man with his own documented searchable database of almost 17,000 lies is not a serial pathological liar? What is he then? A major fibber?
I just don't think he's a pathological liar, Doug.
But what do you have to back that up? I have a documented database of 17,000 lies. What do you have other than an opinion?
You actually have 17,000 lies that Donald Trump has over the course of how long?
Yes.
In 3 years?
3 years.
17,000
It's documented and searchable. And if it's an audio clip, they have a link to the clip.
I believe Doug, by the way.
You actually think
he does lie quite a bit.
You think Trump has lied? What would that make it per day? He's been president for what, about 900 days? 1,000 days?
I don't know.
So you're saying he's lied 17 times a day publicly every single day.
That's on a slow day.
Since the start of his presidency.
I absolutely believe that.
That just seems like a bit excessive.
Okay.
I don't think he has lied that often.
It is excessive.
I find that very hard to believe that he has actually lied every day of his presidency almost 17 times.
Those are just the ones in public. We don't know what he says behind doors.
Right. So you think he actually lies 60 to 100 times a day?
He could be telling Melania, hey, I'm good to go, and then 10 minutes later he falls asleep. That's a lie.
Over the course of his life, and he's 73 years old, let's assume that Donald Trump, based on what you're saying, that Donald Trump has told roughly 5 million lies.
I wouldn't find that hard to believe at all.
I wouldn't either.
You know what, Doug? I think that's completely reasonable.
Well,
I sense JD's being sarcastic.
You're going back over the course of his life when he wasn't such a public figure. I mean, don't forget, this is the guy who used to call the scandal rags, use a fake name, and brag about his sexual prowess.
He's always been, actually, his father is the one that bragged about his sexual prowess. His father, to make him look like he was, the stud when he was younger, when he was actually in boarding school, would bring girls that Donald Trump didn't know about to his boarding school to make him look like he was the alpha of the boarding school.
Oh, I'm not saying that his parents didn't play a role in breaking him horribly. The bottom line is he's a horribly broken person.
I think it's reasonable to assume that he's probably been doing this his entire life, and he didn't just decide to start lying 17 times a day when he became president of the United States.
But when you become the president, but hold on, let me just interject here and say, when you become the president of the United States, you have a responsibility to tell the truth. And I'm not saying that other presidents have always told the truth, but there's no question, JD, you have to admit, even if you don't agree with all the lies that Doug is talking about, you have to admit the president lies on a regular basis. I'm not going to put a number on it. The president is a pathological liar, and I hate to sound like Bernie Sanders here, but it's been happening since day one.
He's a pathological liar.
Right, exactly.
That was pretty good, Doug.
You have to admit that. You have to admit that. The man lies on a regular basis.
I'm not going to admit that he's a pathological liar. Has he lied before? Yes, of course he has. Has he embellished? I think he actually embellishes more than he lies in his best interest. I think he does that more than he actually just
That's what sociopaths do.
Out lies.
That's what sociopaths do.
Within a reasonable deviation.
All right, well, let's talk about the coronavirus real quickly. If you're just joining us, in studio is Doug Basham. He does a weekly show here Saturdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Let's talk about the coronavirus. I've criticized Mike Pence. I've criticized Donald Trump for putting Pence in charge. This is a man who tried to pray the situation when it came to syringes and the AIDS epidemic. I tried to pray that away. Instead, people died. In 2000, Mike Pence is on record as saying cigarettes don't kill. This is a man who can't even allow his wife to be in a room with another man. He has to be president. I think he's a nut, to be quite frank with you. And this is a man, the other day, he said that people should not be shaking each other's hands. And then yesterday in a press conference says, well, we're going to shake hands. The president's going to shake hands. I think it is a joke. It's a sad joke that this guy is in charge of this stuff. The prayer in chief, or the jerk circle, as I like to call him, the jerk circle Pence. I mean, what do you make of this guy in charge of this?
Well, my first comment is this is another example of Mike Pence acquiescing to Donald Trump. no, we're not going to shake hands anymore. Mike, why'd you say that? I'm going to shake hands. And he immediately caves. I'm going to shake hands. I mean, he has been the biggest lemming that I have ever seen. The way we only wish we had a significant other that looked at us the way Mike Pence looks at Donald Trump when he speaks.
You're right
I've
about
never
that.
had that.
You're right. I never had that either. We'll take some phone calls at 702-257-5396. Again, the phone line's open right now if you want to chime in, 702-257-5396. Our guest is Doug Bassam. JD, you want to respond to that?
Well, I think Joe Biden did the exact same thing with Barack Obama. He kind of looked at him as a longing figure in his life. But yeah, Pence definitely does like he's a big fan of Donald Trump, and he doesn't like to get him angry. Clearly,
but here's the thing.
For example, when Donald Trump Jr. said that Democrats actually wish that millions of Americans die due to the coronavirus because it gives them political power. And Mike Pence didn't say that's completely wrong. He said he's justified in making that statement.
Which is absurd.
And that is absurd. That's over the top. But I think that's pretty standard for vice presidents to want to make their presidents happy.
But here's the difference. Whenever Biden looked at Obama, he wasn't looking at a sociopath. Here's the one thing people tend to forget. There isn't one congressional Republican who doesn't know what a garbage human being Donald Trump is. They're not stupid. They are educated men. A lot of them are attorneys. They went to school for a great many years. And they all said that before the election, before Trump became the nominee. And then they all acquiesced and caved. But make no mistake, there isn't one of them who doesn't know exactly what Donald Trump is.
So we had Tommy Lauren on the show last week.
Oh, my goodness.
I think she's smart. I think she puts on a little bit of an act when it comes to making her TV appearances.
She's definitely an entertainer.
But here's my issue with what she said on our show. I said, can't we have a president who doesn't go after, war veterans? Can't we have a president who doesn't attack women based on looks? And she said, well, I wouldn't do it, but I think he's just joking. I have a huge problem with that because if Barack Obama said any of those things, she would be all over him. This is my problem with many of the Republicans that support Donald Trump. Not all of them, but many of them. They say, well, it's not something I would do.
I know.
But I like his policies.
And
to me, that is an embarrassing answer and defense of Donald Trump.
And my favorite one is, well, I wish he wouldn't tweet so much. It's not the frequency. It's the content.
Exactly. When you go after women based on looks, John McCain and all the comments, people say, Brian, you just have a checklist. Well, you know what? It's an indefensible checklist.
But
That's
it wrote
what it is.
itself.
Yeah, it really did. I didn't make this stuff up. Donald Trump is the one that said these people entering our country, they're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people.
Yeah.
It was Donald Trump who said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured, who was, by the way, captured for 5 years. Donald Trump is the one that actually dodged the military because of his supposed bone spurs. Donald Trump is the one a few weeks ago who went after Nancy Pelosi's dentures. I didn't make this stuff up. Donald Trump, it's out of his mouth. We're taking your calls, 702-257-5396. Doug Basham is our guest. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, you're first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
What up, Chuck?
Hey, I want to ask you, who's responsible for this coronavirus?
Well, we don't know exactly who's responsible for it yet. We don't know the answer to that, Chuck.
So how come every time I'm watching this liberal news networks, they make it seem like it's the government's fault and they don't know what the hell they're doing and blah, blah, blah. This is a brand new disease. Am I correct?
Yes.
And really nobody knows how to handle this because no one's ever seen anything quite like this except in the, way before we were created.
Okay.
So why is it making this a political question of knowledge when it's not?
If I can respond to that, whenever somebody starts off by saying, why are these liberal networks doing this? That's my first clue that you don't patronize them, that you're going by what Donald Trump's state-run propaganda ministry is telling you they're saying. I listen to those quote-unquote liberal networks, and they're not blaming Donald Trump for the virus. They are blaming him for his ambivalence, his downplaying
The lack
of
of
it, and his lack of failure to respond to it.
Right.
This is brand new.
No one's arguing that.
Yeah. So it's his lack of testing.
His lack of preparing.
What do you think? Who is prepared for this? No one is, right?
But
if
you're missing
was prepared for this, why would MGM Resorts? How come they're not prepared for this? How come?
Number one, because they're getting zero guidance from their government. Number two, when Donald Trump declared his worthless travel ban on January 31st, we had already had our first cases on January 21st. We knew about this back in December. He gave no guidance. All he came up with was a travel ban, as if that's going to stop it, which of course it didn't. We already had people in this country that had contracted it.
He did the same thing as Barack Obama
No,
would
he
have
didn't.
done, or anyone else would have done in that leadership position.
No, he
I don't
didn't.
know why people
So
are
can I
making
ask you a
this
question, Chuck?
political question.
Chuck, let me just jump in here real quick. Did Barack Obama blame a past administration for any diseases in the 8 years he was in office? Because that's what Donald Trump did.
That doesn't mean nothing.
You just said,
now.
oh, well, you just said Barack Obama would have.
Nothing right
No,
now.
it does, because you just said,
listen up,
you just said it was this.
flea bag.
Excuse me, a flea bag. You can't have a conversation. You
Well,
can't have a.
that's what the poker players
You know what?
call
You know what? Why don't you have a great night at your Klan rally tonight? Get off my show, you scumbag. See, that's what happens when you prove somebody wrong and they can't come up with facts. They call you a name.
Oh, I
well,
know.
that doesn't fly with me. You're off, buddy.
I'm waiting for them to go after our hair.
Yeah, well, I don't have any hair, so I can't comment. Let me just give out the number again. 702-257-5396 is the number to call again if you want to be a part of the program. 257-5396. That is a perfect example of a nut job on the right who can't come up with facts, can't form his own opinions, can't state eloquently his beliefs. So what does he do at the end of the conversation? He just name calls me. He's the one who brought up Barack Obama. He said the same thing happened in the last administration. I ask a very, very logical question. I say, in the 8 years Barack Obama was president, did he blame the past administration for any diseases? The answer is no. And that is exactly what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump blamed Barack Obama. He did it last week. 257-5396.
Yeah, just to go back to that last caller's point. Again, my first clue was he doesn't watch what he calls liberal media.
Right.
He's stuck inside Trump's media bubble and echo chamber. He proved it. Oh, Barack Obama did the same thing. No, absolutely wrong. Barack Obama had been in office a couple months when the H1N1 hit. He declared a public health emergency the day after the WHO did. What they're now saying on Trump's media is that, oh, he waited 6 months. That's a lie. He waited 6 months before he declared a national emergency. Mm-hmm. But he declared the public health emergency the day after the WHO did, who then didn't declare the pandemic for 2 months later. When Trump declared a public health emergency on January 31st, we'd already had our first cases 10 days before. It was already a pandemic.
I want to ask you, Doug, what do you think of McCarthy calling this the Chinese coronavirus? There's a lot of Democrats that are very angry that they're calling it racism. What do you say?
I think we need to pick our fights, and I think this is a losing one. I actually, when I started my show last Saturday, I called it the Chinese coronavirus because there are other coronaviruses. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just to depict where it came from.
Right.
The part of that I don't like is under Donald Trump, we have become a nation of it. Well, some have become a nation of eternal victims that have to blame. Mm-hmm. For years, people have told me on the air, oh, I'm a Republican. I belong to the party of personal responsibility. They take none. And under Trump, it's gotten worse.
Well, what I love is when people call themselves pro-life, and then the second the baby is born, they want to cut food stamps, they want to cut welfare. If you want to call yourself pro-life, then be consistent. Let's take some more phone calls. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you're next up on the Vegas Take. You are on with Doug Basham. What's going on?
Oh, man, you guys must be having a slow day if I'm already up. I just called in. You don't got more callers.
Have a nice day. See you later. It's not a slow day because we're going to get to some other callers. And when you're going to start the phone call by trying to insult us, you could go jump off a cliff. Guess what? We do have other people on the line. Let's go to Lauren. Lauren, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, Lauren? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Just this is the first time I've listened to your channel, and so far I like what I hear. I am concerned. I am a resident, of course, and I work at a local casino, and really concerned on what the MGM properties and the other casinos are doing about the buffets and so forth. I really think it's a wrong decision, making everybody scared.
I agree. And Lauren, here's the point I made, and Doug, you can comment on this. What is the most disgusting thing in a casino that you could actually get sick from? I would beg to differ. It's not a buffet. It's a casino chip. Chips are some of the dirtiest things you could touch, okay? But guess what? I haven't heard MGM Properties shutting down any of their casinos or any of their table games where they make all the money. No, they decide to shut down the buffets. It's ludicrous. It's ridiculous.
It is. And, you know, and to touch on what you were saying is people are scared because of our administration. They're scared that he can't handle the situation. And you put Mike Putz involved in this, and like you said, he can't deal with it, and people are scared. You know, people are like my wife and friends were going out to a buffet. Oh, we don't want to go because of the virus. It's like, you got to live your life. People are friggin' scared, man.
Absolutely.
And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and listen, absolutely. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being scared. There's nothing wrong with taking this serious. What I don't want is I don't want people thinking that they can't go out and have a good time. And I don't want you to be scared. But at the same time, I don't want, others, playing this down because people have died. I mean, there are people that have called into this show that think the coronavirus doesn't exist. They're the same people that think 9/11 was an inside job. They're the same people that think there was nobody up on planes that went into the World Trade. These people are nuts. Don't listen to them. Sadly, I hate to say it, but our leadership in Washington right now, I wouldn't really listen to everything they have to say either. I think you need to speak to your doctors. I think you need to speak to professionals. Clearly, Mike Pence is a professional prayer. That's about all he is. He's a professional homophobe. Mike Pence is not a professional leader, and he doesn't know how to lead this country, certainly not a virus. If he had it his way, he would pray it away, Lauren.
He would. He definitely would. But, it's the reality is that now thousands of people in this town are going to lose their jobs. And what
it sucks.
What is the government going to do to help these incomes that they're lost?
Lauren, you're right. You're right. You make some valid points there, Lauren. We appreciate the phone call. 702-257-5396. That number to call again, 257-5396. Let's go to Bobby. Bobby, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, gentlemen, how you doing today?
Good, Bobby. What's on your mind?
Oh, man, I want to talk to my good friend Doug. I haven't talked to him in a while. I call him on his show every now and again. And I just, he says Donald Trump is a liar. And I think every man in the world lies. But you know what? Lies really matter when people tell you can keep your doctor.
Okay, I have to interrupt here, Bobby. First of all, as I have said more times than I can remember, Donald Trump has a documented, searchable database of 17,000 lies. He lies hold on, Bobby, it's my turn. He lies every time he opens his mouth. The best you can do is go back 11, 12 years and say, well, if you like your doctor and your plan, guess what? Most people were able to keep their doctor. And Bobby, I'm sorry, I wasn't finished. I'll let you know. I'll give you a cue. What Obama did was make an inartful statement. The reality is there was nothing in the Affordable Care Act that mandated. Bobby, you weren't given a cue.
Illegal.
Bobby.
Illegal. DACA is illegal.
Bobby.
Is it not?
Bobby, pay attention. I'm about to teach you something.
You pay attention. DACA is illegal, right?
All right, let me just hold on a second, Bobby. I dislike Trump probably just as much as Doug does. Maybe Doug dislikes him more than I do, but I dislike Trump very much. Do you really want to compare the human being that is Donald Trump to Barack Obama? Forget about, I know you just said that everybody lies in this country, but everybody is not the president of the United States. So that's a ridiculous take you just had. So let me ask you, Bobby.
Barack Obama, your God.
Okay, first of all, Bobby,
went up from $150.
Bobby, no, hold on a second.
$100.
Bobby, you just said Barack Obama is my God. Is that what you just said?
That's all you all bring up.
Okay, so first of all, you're a moron to assume that because I didn't vote for Barack Obama. So would you like to clear up that statement because you have no idea what my?
I'm not talking about
Excuse me.
buddy.
Well, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Pay attention. Excuse me. You're talking to me now.
You're
just
go for your commie?
Okay. I can't even have.
Hey, Ashley, here's a thought. Why don't you pop this guy down and then Brian and I can beat him up?
Okay, first of all, I can't even have a conversation with you, Bobby, because you're so ignorant. Okay, you're so ignorant, Bobby. I can't even have a conversation with you. If you want to compare the person, the honest person, this guy still, just get rid of this guy. He's an idiot. The bottom line is if you want to compare the human being that is Barack Obama to Donald Trump, you cannot win that discussion. You cannot. Now, if you want to talk about policy, I'm willing to have that conversation with you. But for you to say you think that Barack Obama lied just as many times as Donald Trump, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
The fact that he had to go back 11, 12 years to find one is all you need to know. Yeah. He's the kind of guy who would say, well, I wish he wouldn't tweet so much. I mean, the depths to which these people will sink to defend the indefensible Trump is just appalling. And it goes against everything they at least tried to claim they stood for years.
And the fact, because I don't like Donald Trump, he wants to say that he thinks Barack Obama is my God is, again, one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. I tend to think when a guy like that calls into this show, his God is David Duke. We'll tend to see what he thinks about that. We're going to take a quick break. Doug Basham is our guest. We'll take some more phone calls on the other side. 257-5396. Be back right after this.
Maybe you can relate to this. A lot of people think they're stuck with their health plan. It costs too much, or for whatever reason, they just don't like it. The great news, you are not stuck with it. There is a choice. It's called MediShare, and you could save so much. The typical savings for a family is $500 a month. Major difference maker. This is the affordable alternative to health insurance. And just to give you a little more info about MediShare, it's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. It's worked beautifully for 26 years, has more than 400,000 members, and they've shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So yes, they can help share your needs too. So you're not stuck. There's an excellent alternative, whether you're single or married, you got a family. MediShare is super flexible. You can choose an option that works for you and start saving lots of money. You can join anytime. They're great to talk to, no pressure. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Special report coronavirus pandemic. The World Health Organization has now declared the coronavirus outbreak has reached pandemic stage. The top U.S. expert on infectious disease, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says coronavirus is a threat to 15 to 20% of the population.
If you look at historically, for example, the experience we've had with China, about 80% of them have disease that makes people sick, but they ultimately recover without substantial medical intervention. It's the 15 to 20% that have the serious disease and high mortality.
San Francisco is banning gatherings of over 1,000, meaning the NBA's Warriors could play without fans tomorrow. The Trump administration is working on plans to delay the April 15th tax deadline. The White House also wants to declare all coronavirus task force meetings as classified. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Leonard Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by ExpressPros.com. A crash on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at I-15. Watch for slowing in the area. Also, police and fire on scene for a crash injury sustained at Sunset westbound near Eastern Avenue. And police are conducting a hit-and-run accident investigation at Buffalo at Lake Mead Boulevard. Watch for slowing, possible lane restrictions, police presence, losing sleep over a stressful job, or a bad boss. It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Connect on the Express Jobs app or ExpressPros.com. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Test drive new surf, wake, sport fishing, and pontoon boats at the On the Water Boat Show at Lake Mead Marina this weekend. New and used boats will be on display with huge savings. The best prices of the year happening at the On the Water Boat Show at Lake Mead Marina. Test drive new Yamaha jet boats, Bayliner and Sea Ray sport boats, Mastercraft and Heyday wake and surf boats, Bennington pontoons, and more. Test drive before you buy at the On the Water Boat Show this weekend, Thursday through Sunday at Lake Mead Marina. More info and directions at boatinglakmead.com.
Eric's IRS troubles were nasty.
I had 10 years of unpaid tax returns. I owed a ton of money in taxes. I started getting letters.
And unbelievably complex.
Things that are written in the tax code are so complicated that if you don't pay a tax professional to do your taxes, you're going to screw up. This was such a complex problem, I did not think anybody could solve it.
Eric's whole life was about to go down the drain, so he called Optima Tax Relief.
Optima was able to make sense out of a huge disaster, and Optima stopped it.
To say the least, Eric was very relieved.
They got me out of hot water, that's for sure. Optima saved me a boatload of money and got me out of a horribly complex situation. It's a huge relief and a huge weight lifted off my shoulders.
Got a nasty, confusing tax problem? Do what Eric did and call Optima right now for a free consultation. Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Our very special guest is Doug Basham, who does a show here, a weekly show, Saturdays from 2 to 4 p.m. And JD is now back in studio. We're lot of people on the right are like, "Where's JD? He's our voice." So JD, you find yourself back in studio now, and
I'm here.
we can continue this conversation. Doug, I wanted to bring this up. House Majority Democrat Jim Clyburn appears ready to call off the Democratic primary. At least he did yesterday, calling Vice President Joe Biden the victor. Do you think it's fair to do that at this point, or do you still think it's too early?
Well, it's too early, and it's just anti-democratic. I don't really understand exactly what he meant by that, like time to shut this down. I don't know if that's a subtle call for Bernie to resign, but you can't just shut it down.
Right.
Like you can a body that's been raped.
But Biden's going to win. We all know that. It's inevitable. Biden is going to be the man, right?
It looks like it, and if I can say, I'm kind of disappointed where the Democratic Party has ended up. I posted this on my Facebook page last week on Monday, the day before Super Tuesday, and I said the general consensus is it's going to come down to a two-man race between two 78-year-olds who are going to make the deranged, unhinged Donald Trump the youngster in the presidential race. It's like with all the people, with all the Democrats in this country, we've got some guy. Now, I love Uncle Joe. I saw him speak in Washington years ago. He was dynamic. This is not that Joe Biden.
Okay, but
I agree with that entirely.
Here's my issue with Joe Biden. I have respect for him.
Yep.
Okay, I do. I really do. I think he's had a difficult life. I've lost members of my family in a car accident before. Sadly, I know what he went through. I think he's a decent man.
He is.
With that being said, his age has gotten the best of him, I think, to an extent.
Yeah.
I still think he's a smart guy, but he does have a lot of gaffes. Now, there's a difference between a gaffe and a lie.
Yeah.
A gaffe is saying 150 million people have died at the hands of gun violence. That's half the country. Obviously, he doesn't believe that. That was a mistake. When you're Donald Trump and you blatantly lie, there's a difference there. I don't like the Joe Biden who points his finger in somebody's face when he disagrees with them. I like the Barack Obama who is willing to treat everybody with respect. We need respect back in the White House. I wish Joe Biden would handle things better. I wish he wouldn't say stupid things. I wish he wouldn't behave in that way and say someone's full of crap, or he used another word that I can't use. So we have a guy who called in last segment. The guy who called in last segment, I believe his name is Bobby. He calls in last segment. He says, Barack Obama is my God, okay, because I don't like Donald Trump. I take issue to that.
Yeah.
I take issue to anybody who says something that is ignorant. So I said, have fun with your God, David Duke. Obviously, that's an insult. If you're going to insult me,
I caught that.
If you're going to insult me, I'm going to insult you back. And if, as right-wingers like to call it, snowflakes. If you're going to be a snowflake, then don't call in. But you know what? Since I'm in such a wonderful mood today, Doug, this man was insulted, and he's so hurt, he decided to call back.
Oh.
Bobby, why did you decide to call back into the program?
All right, my friend, I didn't tell you personally that Barack Obama was your God. I was talking to Doug.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I'll take it from here.
Okay. And
my point is, Bobby.
Hold on a second. I took offense because I'm not white. David Duke would probably shoot me or hang me.
Okay, well,
hell, I might do it.
Okay, well, first of all,
he made an assumption.
No, I didn't make an assumption. No, I didn't make an assumption.
I'm not a right-winger.
Okay, Bobby, I didn't make an assumption. Bobby, can I respond to him?
Saying that the leader of the KKK
Can I respond?
is his God is certainly making an assumption.
You're right. No, it's not, because can I respond, or do you want to talk for me? Bobby, I don't think you're going to a Klan rally tonight. I don't think that your God is David Duke. I said something that was completely ridiculous and over the top. I'm sure you would agree. Because when somebody, and I don't want to speak for Doug Basham, but when somebody dislikes Donald Trump and you make an assumption that their God is the last president because they're a Democrat, that is pure stupidity. So I'm going to say something stupid because you said something stupid first. If you notice, I didn't say something first, you did. Now, if you want to continue this conversation and have a good debate, I'm more than willing to do that with you. But that's the way I handle callers like you who make assumptions like that. Again, I don't speak for Doug Basham, but you're making assumptions. Don't do that. What is your beef with what we've said on this show? And I'll have a conversation with you.
Okay, so we want to talk about lies. How about when Mr. Obama said, hey, if I haven't gotten rid of the deficit, I shouldn't be a second-term president.
Okay, so let me respond to that, okay? First of all, let's just assume that you're right and Barack Obama has had some lies. Does that make it right for Donald Trump to lie 10 times a day? This is called whataboutism, Bobby, so I ask you the question now.
It's actually 17 times a day.
If Barack Obama has lied in the past, and by the way, he's not the liar-in-chief like Donald Trump is. Does that make it okay for Donald Trump to lie? Is that all you do is do whataboutism?
Well, I'm not trying to compare any.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're absolutely comparing.
And here's the problem with what Bobby.
Hold on a second. He asked me a question. Let me answer. So here's the thing. Did Barack Obama, did he actually fulfill his promises as president? No.
Well, let me answer that question.
Has Donald Trump?
Look, you asked me a question. Okay, you asked me a question. Now I'm going to answer it, and we got to get to some other callers because, quite frankly, I'm sick of you. Donald Trump campaigned on we're going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. So don't you give me this crap about Obama and his promises, okay? Obama took over a horrendous economy, the worst. And where did he leave it at, okay? If you want to talk about the deficit, Donald Trump has accumulated more debt in this country in his 3 years as president than Barack Obama did. But you don't want to talk about that because you're biased. Tell David Duke I said hello. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Jay. Jay,
totally appropriate, Brian.
Jay, you're next on the Vegas take.
Double down, just like Trump. Very Trumpian of you to do that.
All right. Well, go ahead, Jay.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, what's up, Jay?
How you guys doing today?
Good.
We're doing fine, Jay. Go ahead because we're up against the clock.
Yeah, doing well.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to say I listened to Doug Basham, Brian Shapiro. You two guys should team up together. You know why? Because you're the best show ever.
Well, I appreciate that, Jay. Thank you.
I'm serious, man.
Your Obama phone is in the mail. I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm serious because I was listening to Doug this weekend, and I called him. I said he's the master. He's the master fact finder. You the guy who don't take no for an answer, Brian. You push the envelope, man. We need more people like you guys on the radio station.
Jay, I appreciate that. What do you think about J.D. Sharp?
I like it. Brian is he is definitely the consummate Trump-hating salesman. I totally agree with that.
JD's cool, man. He just, Donald Trump's so, man, but you can't be all up
Jay,
in him like
Jay,
that.
honest question here.
Listen, let me finish, bro. Let me finish.
You can finish.
Because Donald Trump go back up on you, man. He gonna keep it real.
I really hope not.
The dude don't care about nobody but himself, his kids.
It's true.
I care about my kids too.
No, I disagree with that. I don't think I disagree, Jay. Jay, I disagree with you. I don't think Donald Trump cares about Don Jr. No, I don't.
You know what? You're right, bro. You're right. Because
I think he wants to.
Hey, Brian,
I think he wants to go on a date with his daughter. I'll give you that.
Brian, if he did not care about Don Jr., Mike Pence wouldn't have cowered to him when he made that statement.
Well,
so we know that's not true.
Daddy, Please Love Me.
Jay,
The title of Don Jr.'s new book, Daddy, Please Love Me.
Jay, honest to God, do you think I'm a jive turkey?
Say what?
Am I a jive turkey?
What are you talking?
Jack turkey.
Jive, J-I-V-E, jive turkey.
Who uses that term? Did you just watch the movie?
He said I was cool.
So much up here.
I'm late for Soul Train.
Did you just watch the movie Airplane yesterday? What are you talking about? All right, let's go to Alex. Alex, you're next up on the Vegas take. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, fellas.
What's up, Alex?
First thing, thank God I got I just forgot his name. Your guest, what's his name?
Doug Basham.
Doug Basham. Doug.
Yes.
Good thing I got your autograph years ago when you're in the movie industry over there near Maryland, Charleston. You were such a nice guy.
What do you mean was?
You were a very nice guy. Anyway.
He is a nice guy.
Real quick, as far as Donald Trump, I'm Hispanic. And let me tell you something. I know you guys keep going after his lies, but you know what? I'd rather take his lies than get something done in the country rather than what Barack Obama was.
Except that he's not getting anything done.
But he didn't get nothing done. As far as poor people, he helped out poor people with the earned income credit. He doubled it. Okay, so that helped out poor people. I know poor people that now have opened up their eyes and realized that Donald Trump is not what the media is.
Alex, I have a question for you, and I appreciate your kind comments that I used to be a nice guy.
No, you still are.
I know, I'm just teasing.
I don't know you anymore, but I dealt with you on a weekly basis. What a friendly guy you were.
Okay, I have a question. I don't understand how anybody can listen to Donald Trump talk for any more than 2 minutes and not realize that he is a consummate bullcrapper.
Okay, look. I like a bullcrapper that does something for
See, there's my answer. I like bullcrappers.
Wait. I'm not a 10-year-old. I'm over 40 now, and you know something?
I didn't say you were a young person.
Come here and tell me what they were going to do for the country and all this, and they didn't do nothing.
And what has Trump done? What has Trump done? Alex, what has Trump done?
Okay. For example, in my personal case, I saved over almost $2,500, almost $3,000 a year on that enforced mandate of that insurance. It was a joke. I was getting ripped off. I didn't get any coverage.
All right, well, Alex, listen, Alex, I appreciate your phone call. At one point in your life, I think you were a very nice guy. 702
great call, Alex.
257-5396. Let's go to Andy. Andy, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, guys. So
what's up, Andy?
I've been listening, and I just heard Brian react to a caller because he was defending himself by insulting him.
Yeah, you're damn right. You're damn right.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Go ahead, Andy.
Considering how much you guys both hate Donald Trump and you accuse him of doing that, it's very hypocritical.
Okay, well, Andy, go ahead and go ahead and try to make.
I just made his point for him.
Okay, well, he's the caller, so let him make his point, and then I'll respond to it. Go ahead, Andy.
Okay. The point being is Trump is constantly being attacked
as he should be.
The media. What?
As he should be.
Okay, so let me give you first of all, Andy, I have to respond. I have to respond to what you just said. I gave you an opportunity. First of all, I'm not the president of the United States. I'm a local radio talk show host. That's number one. The president sets the example, not me. So don't you try comparing. Excuse me. Excuse me. Do not compare me to the president of the United States. Okay.
You're a public figure. You're on radio.
I am not an. Excuse me.
But we're a little further down on the totem pole.
Okay,
Brian is a local celebrity,
that's number
but
one.
soon to be coast to
I
coast radio
know he's
celebrity.
bragged. He's got the number one talk show on the radio, so
that's fact.
Hey,
Okay,
you know?
number one. Okay, number two. Let me finish my statement. Number two.
Okay.
It is never okay, no matter who goes after the president, for the president to go after a woman based on looks, to a president to go after someone because they're an immigrant, for a president to go after a Gold Star family, for a president to go after a POW for being captured. Now, you can say, hold on, you can say what you want about the quote-unquote liberal media going after Trump, but guess what? Fox News went after Barack Obama for 8 years. Barack Obama never called them fake news. He took it like a man. Donald Trump is the most sensitive, thin-skinned individual I have ever seen in my life take office. So if you want to blame the liberals in the media for it, fine. You can have your opinion, sir. But number one,
we are in an age where we are beyond politically correct. Do you agree with that?
That does not mean you should go after women based on looks and go after POWs. And that is a horrible take. That is a horrible take.
We are beyond that.
And the issue with left-wing media is they are not used to a president actually responding when attacked. Now, Donald Trump responds too often.
It's ridiculous.
And I think he responds the wrong way a lot of the time, but he always responds.
There's a difference
And
between.
I would think that this whole issue is being.
Nobody should be surprised by the fact that he reacts the way he does.
I think this whole thing is being mischaracterized.
Brian overreacted to that caller.
So let me ask you a question, Andy. When somebody, no, I didn't overreact. I didn't admit to that at all. Let me be very clear on this.
The guy is not a white guy, and you're calling him a.
I don't care what the. Excuse me. I don't care what the color of his skin is. I said something because I'm reacting to what he said. Now he said Barack Obama was my God.
Just like Trump reacts to people that attack him.
Now, excuse me. I am not the president of the United States, and if somebody says, excuse me. When somebody says something ignorant and stupid, I'm going to respond with the same thing, and I'm going to get them off the show because they don't deserve any more airtime. Now, is there any other ridiculous point you'd like to make, or do I?
Yes.
Actually,
I have one.
Let's talk about Pence and your whole.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
And the whole.
Let's do that.
And how a terrible leader he is.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Why don't you characterize what he said about the whole handshaking thing correctly? Because he didn't. You're saying that nobody should be shaking hands. His quote was exactly this, and let me read it to you so that way your listeners can.
Please do.
You can read.
He said, I expect the president will continue to do that," referring to shaking hands. What this is a broad recommendation for Americans.
So he's giving the Americans a broad.
Is to wash your hands.
So he's giving recommendations, a broad recommendation to the country, and then saying he's going to continue to shake hands, and the president going. Oh my goodness! All right, Andy. All right, Andy. I'm not going to get into the weeds with you. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
But.
Hey, we have Gray Basham and Bald Basham in the same room. That's pretty historic, gentlemen.
Oh, I told you they're going to come after our hair.
Brian, you're not. Brian, that's not funny. Making fun of my hair. Please go on, move on. What would you like to discuss?
Brian, do you ever lie?
Brian, do you ever lie? Is that so? You're trying to
Do you
compare
ever?
me to the
You know,
president.
Brian, do you lie?
Do you ever call into the show and just make
what a
stupid?
stupid
It's
question.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
You lied on the air, Brian.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Let me bring up a remembrance to you about Doug Basham.
Here we go. It's a gotcha moment. Brian, just make your point, or I'm going to move on to the next call.
A caller said that you sounded like Doug Basham, and your reply was, "I don't know who Doug Basham is. I've never
You're
heard
right.
of Doug
You're right.
Basham."
You're right.
But
You're
you
right.
Called in to his program.
You're right. So
the
let me
previous
explain. So let me
Saturday.
explain something to you. If you can be quiet and listen, because every single time you call into this
Yeah,
show,
I love this, Brian.
Can I
Good work.
can I respond?
Absolutely, of course.
Thank you. So every time you call into the show, it tries to be like a gotcha moment. So let me educate you now. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that was about a year ago. I did not know who Doug Basham was. In fact,
I barely knew.
Let me finish. So I called into his show, not even knowing his name. I heard him give out the number, and I called into his show. So if you want to be an idiot and be wrong, Brian, you go ahead. But I'm going to move on to the next call because I think you are an
Real
idiot.
quick, before we do, there's another example of someone trying to take one thing you said to justify Donald Trump's 17,000 lies.
Brian is a right-wing buffoon. He
I
calls
know.
in all the time.
I know.
He's trying to do these gotcha moments.
And here's the problem with whataboutism. Oh, well, what about when Obama did this? Well, did you like it when he did it, or did you hate it? And the answer is, I hated it. Then how are you using that to justify Trump doing it?
Exactly. 257-5396. Let's take some more calls. Let's go to Wayne. Wayne, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind?
I'd like to take the same side I took yesterday with you. As far as I'm concerned,
No
you
new
have
material.
an executive chair, Brian, and I agree. I'll even go down to bail hall like I did yesterday. What I'm saying, Brian, Trump is actually like Humpty Dumpty.
Well, he's got
And
the same body type. I agree.
When it comes from
Would
your
you mind
heart,
explaining?
when it comes from your heart, Brian, there's
Yes.
things that Trump has done. It really doesn't tickle things that should be properly understood.
All right, Wayne, I appreciate that. I appreciate that call. As Donald Trump would say, low energy. Let's go to Corey. Corey, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
I'm actually a big fan of Wayne.
Hey, boys.
What's up?
What's up, Corey?
Hey, I don't have an opinion on this, but I just have a question. If Joe Biden made it in and wanted to outlaw assault rifles, I'm assuming there are already millions of them out there.
Right.
How could that be done?
Well, it would be an extremely difficult thing to do. But let me answer your question by asking one. What is your solution to all the mass shootings and the carnage we have with gun violence then?
I don't have one.
Okay, well, here's my answer. I think it's several different things. And it's a fair point that you bring up, but we have to do something. I think it starts with universal background checks. Then we have red flag laws that need to be put into effect. There's no question we have to do something and address mental illness. There's a lot of things that need to be done. What has Mitch McConnell done? With all those bills that are sitting on his desk, Mitch McConnell's a coward. Can we agree on that, Corey?
Okay.
You see where I'm going here? Now, you make a valid point, and I agree with you. This is not an overnight thing. It could take 20 or 30 years. Could take 50 years.
Yep.
But we need to implement something, Corey, in the name of those who've lost their lives at the hands of gun violence.
And if I could just add something to the people that say, oh, well, those laws don't work. You're right, except in every civilized country in which they've been implemented.
Exactly. Corey, I appreciate the phone call, and I hope we answered your question. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Hi, guys. I just wanted to compliment Doug on what he said about
Go
the 17,000 lies. Glenn Kessler is the man, and the name of the site is the Pinocchio Factor, Washington Post, and something else.
And not only that, easy for me to say, Glenn Kessler is a lifelong conservative Republican.
Okay. Can I make one last statement?
Sure,
guys? And then
sure,
I'll
go ahead.
I know
Yes,
you
sir.
get a lot of calls coming in.
Yes, sir.
Every time the Fed lowers the interest rate a quarter of a point, Trump owes the Bundesbank $800 million. He saves $800,000. So he's always pressuring the Fed to lower the interest rates. Does it make any sense?
That makes complete sense, Steve. Hey, I appreciate the phone call, my man. Thank you for calling in. Let's go to Dr. Doug. He is next on the Vegas Take. No relation to Doug Basham. Doug, go ahead.
No, but I can't wait to listen to Doug on the weekends. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. What's on your mind?
Doing well.
All right. What's on my mind is you've got a couple of issues that go out there, and this is the problem with what's going on. You and I, you, JD, and actually Doug, can have a reasonable conversation about things. When the right wing goes after and tries to change anything about the abortion laws, the latest thing in the Supreme Court was about a doctor having privileges in the area so he could go to a hospital and take care of his patients. There should have been no outrage there. And the right wing should not be outraged when somebody's trying to do something reasonable about guns, like background checks. Brian, you're dead on. You got to do something.
Yeah, I agree. And Doug,
period.
that's what I do, Doug. Doug, when somebody calls in and they criticize the left for gun control issues, I immediately just say, then what is your solution? And some of the idiots say, more guns are the answer. The nut jobs say that.
No.
They don't have any solutions themselves. The bottom line is there are a bunch of bills that are sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk. Mitch McConnell, the useless turtle, is doing absolutely nothing. And, you know, we lost 59 people October 1, and yet there are still some idiots in this city alone that think that, well, you know, bump stocks, Trump did the bump stocks, so nothing else should be done. Let's just go about our merry way. These are people that are not related to any of those that lost their lives.
Thanks for the kind words. You're right. One thing our show does better than a lot of shows across the country, in my opinion, is we are able to convey both sides while having a reasonable conversation and not just jamming it down your throat like the right-wing media does and the left-wing media does. I'm talking shows like Rush Limbaugh. With us, you're not going to get that. You're going to have the ability to make your own decision based on all of our opinions.
I think we have Rush Limbaugh on the line. Rush Limbaugh wants to chime in when it comes to the coronavirus. Rush, what do you have to say about this? Did we lose Rush Limbaugh? I thought... Oh, there he is. Thank you, Rush. Give that man the Medal of Freedom Award. I'll tell you that.
And for that, he's paid millions of dollars a year.
You know what he makes, Doug? He makes $92 million.
Give that guy the Medal of Freedom, man.
And by the way, explain this to me. If there's too many drugs on the street, which the general consensus is that's true, how can the solution be more drugs? If there's too many gangs on the street, which there are.
It's a ridiculous argument.
Who would say the solution is more gangs?
Well, there's
but with
too many
guns? More guns.
There's too many drug dealers out there, so let's not go after the drug dealers. It's the dumbest excuse. It's stupid.
Well, and I pose this question to a lot of our guests when they come on the show that are ultra-conservative. I say, okay, so the musket in the late 1700s, that was kind of the weapon of mass destruction, but it took about 2.5 minutes to load and kill somebody. Now you have an AR-15, a semi-automatic weapon, and you could get off 50 or 100 rounds in 30 seconds. Don't you think that possibly the Second Amendment should be revisited to match technology? And some reasonable ones agree with me. And again, I'm conservative, but I'm not over the top, outside the door right-wing conservative.
I
like to apply logic and reason.
I said that to Brian when he called me a few nights ago. We were talking about you. Nothing good. No, I'm kidding. But I said I like JD because I said I've heard him ask guest questions that I've said I would ask that question.
By the way, for the record, I called Doug. Me and Doug had phone sex for about 90 minutes. Let's go to Anthony.
Right, like you can last that long.
That's actually a very valid point.
He's actually that's been a request.
It was the best 36 seconds of my life, Brian.
I'm quick to the finish line. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, you're next up on the Vegas take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Anthony?
Hey guys, if I wanted to stick with Doug Basham, I think as me as a hard supporter of Joe Biden, I think that the vote for Joe Biden is that's an adult vote, right? His experience is needed right now. He gave an interview, and they asked him, Joe, would you have your AG investigate Donald Trump and his administration? And the first thing Joe Biden said is, no, because that's not the job of the president. The president doesn't have his AG investigate people.
Yep.
You see, that's experience, and that's why the man is an adult. And he would bring honor to the presidency.
Let's let Doug respond to that. Anthony, we do appreciate your phone call. Go ahead, Doug.
I agree. At his core, and Joe Biden definitely has one, whereas Trump does not. Joe Biden is a decent, honorable man. While a lot of people on the right like to claim they're the party of morals and family values, Joe Biden is family values. He almost gave up his seat in the Senate because he wouldn't leave his boys in the hospital after that accident where he lost his wife and his baby girl.
And it was very kind of him to speak to the Ukraine and get his son a job making $60,000 a month in a field he has no experience in as well.
All right.
Oh, you're not going to go there, really? Do we have to re-debunk that whole Ukraine thing again?
I think that's another debate for another show. But I want to say this though. First of all, Doug, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
You're a breath of fresh air because it is, and I think I speak for JD as well when I say when we invite somebody from the station to come in and you treat us with respect, we appreciate that. So I want to start by saying that. Thank you. I also respect anybody that gets a lot of listeners and gets a lot of phone calls, unless you're Rush Limbaugh. You're not a racist. You're not a homophobe. So you are good for this station, not because of your political views, but because you do an entertaining and a good show, and I have listened to it. And it's true. I didn't know who you were a year ago because I don't listen to a lot of radio.
Right.
That's true. But you do a good job, and I appreciate you coming in, and we want to have you in again. And I think it's a good spirited debate. And next time, maybe we can get JD going a little bit earlier in the interview. So
sure, I'll be back tomorrow morning.
Fair enough. All seriousness, Doug, I really do appreciate you coming in, and we'd love to have you in again sometime.
Hey, it's my
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
It's a
guys.
lot of fun. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, coronavirus porn. That's right, coronavirus porn actor Chase Pounder coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take.
To the savers, the skimpers, the I brought my lunchers, to the one-pliers, the DIYers, the why would I fly when I can just drive-ers, we see you working hard to achieve your financial dreams. That's why Credit Karma Savings works just as hard as you do, with a great high-yield savings rate and no fees or minimum to open ever. Credit Karma Savings, a whole new way to save starts here. Start saving today in just minutes at creditkarma.com/savings. Banking services provided by MVB Bank Incorporated, member FDIC.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Report coronavirus pandemic. The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus a pandemic. Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
Pandemic is not a word to use lightly or carelessly. It's a word that, if misused, can cause unreasonable fear or unjustified acceptance that the fight is over, leading to unnecessary suffering and death.
The CDC Director, Dr. Robert Redfield.
Clearly, China is got control of their outbreak. They had 20 cases in the last 24 hours. Where a real threat right now is Europe. That's where the cases are coming in for. So in a way, if you want to just be blunt, Europe is the new China.
The San Francisco Warriors have announced their home game tomorrow will be played without fans. That's after the governor put a ban on large gatherings. I'm Mike Moss. Bernie Sanders says even after a second week of primary losses to Joe Biden, he is staying in the race for the Democratic presidential nomination.
While our campaign has won the ideological debate, we are losing the debate over electability.
Sanders says he hopes to change that in the next debate with Joe Biden. Convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison today. Correspondent Jean Cassera says Weinstein addressed the court.
He expressed his remorse. He said that his life has been changed forever, that he hopes his days in prison that he can become a good man. He talked about the relationships, that he thought they were consensual.
Cheryl Harrington is suing a Pittsburgh hospital that collected and tested her urine for drugs without consent while she was in labor and reported a false positive that led to a child abuse investigation. On Wall Street, stocks are down, the Dow off 1230. I'm Mike Moss.
We have a 12.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner Monroe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Dell. An accident on I-15 northbound at Silverado Ranch Boulevard. It's going to be at the on-ramp, not blocking the through lanes, but watch for precautionary slowing. And also a crash reported Sunset westbound at Eastern Avenue. Injury sustained, police and fire at the scene. Another injury crash still active at Paradise. Southbound at Desert Inn Road, expect slowing and lane restrictions there. Save up to 45% during Dell's semi-annual sale on business laptop and desktops with Intel Core processors. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/businessdeals. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
JD here from the Vegas Take. I've been renting for a while now. and I'm getting closer to buying, but I'm concerned about all the hidden and surprise fees I've heard my friends had when buying. I just read this news story on Homey and was very curious. You should check them out yourselves at HOMIE.com. Homey is new and different and can save buyers and sellers thousands of dollars. Homey provides experienced local agents with the tech they need to save you time and money. I'll get to work with one of their local experienced agents and be able to take advantage of the tech Homey provides. Plus, get this, my friends at Homey are really stepping up and they are offering a special promo to KDWN Vegas Take listeners. You'll get $250 off your listing fee. Just text JD to 88588. That's $250 off your listing fee. Text JD to 88588 for more information. Homey.com. Make sure you get the money that you deserve when you sell your house.
Hey, Chuck, can you break down this whole debt treadmill issue for us?
There are a lot of payday loan companies out there, and some of them trap you on a debt treadmill. It means you keep paying interest, roll over your loan, or borrow money from one company to pay back another loan. Your principal never goes down, and it's not good.
Okay, so look out for that. How does it work at Dollar Loan Center?
We make sure you pay a little principal with every payment you make at Dollar Loan Center. It's called a fully amortized installment loan. If you pay it off quick, great, major savings. But if you need more time to pay it off, even a year or so, at least you're paid in full at the end because you were chipping away at your principal.
That was Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center, where you can get a signature installment loan up to $5,000 in just minutes. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by the Data Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Rolling out the red carpet, baby, for hour number 3. So glad you could join us. Don't worry, we're going to get to this Alex Jones, this idiot from InfoWars, who was arrested for DUI. He has his own conspiracy theories on what happened there. We'll get to that coming up here in just a little bit. We'll get to the hate mail. Don't worry about that. There's plenty of it to go around today. But we've been talking a lot about the coronavirus, right? We've been talking a lot about how serious it is. Now, certainly the guy we have with us on the line right now, he's put himself into self-quarantine because he's so scared of the coronavirus. But he's also a porn actor, and he made his own porn, a coronavirus porn. I don't even know what that is, but he's going to explain it to us. His name is Chase Pounder, and he joins us right now on the line. Chase, what's going on, man? What's up, Chase?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, let's start with this porn that you made. What is exactly a coronavirus porn? What exactly did you do? Explain it to us PG-13 if you can, sir.
Yeah, definitely. So I got the idea from the old Delta Airlines safety videos where they added comedy aspects while teaching you how to obviously be prepared in case of, accidents or emergencies. And it was the only one I ever watched because they'd always have celebrities in there, funny things happening. They don't do that anymore. But I've been censored on many other platforms where, we just get shadow banned immediately, even non-adult related things. And I came up with an idea to be able to spread some basic awareness for this, that people could take it seriously by creating a viral video with comic relief, but with core principles overall, though, on how to, what actions you should take to protect yourself.
So is it true that the woman is it true that the woman that is in this porn with you is Asian American?
Yes, she does. She's a mix between lots of things, but yeah, she does have Asian in her.
So do you think that's what helped make this a coronavirus porn?
I think we could have done it without that, actually. I think it would still go either way. That wasn't really the premise. In fact, that wasn't in any of our planning thinking that would help at all.
Fair enough. I think having an Asian American or an Asian woman in that definitely helped that. So you're saying you started out you wanted this to be a tutorial, basically.
No, well, we figured if we could get a viral outreach, we could have follow-up videos once we have that, which is what we're kind of doing now.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So did you ever imagine that this porn video that you made would go viral the way it has? Because how many people have actually seen this? It's gone crazy, right?
Yeah. So we actually had one that was taken down on a different site. So adding all the numbers together is quite a lot. Pornhub is about 160,000 right now, but the number is north of 500,000. If you add up all the different sites, it's spread to
and this is
somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million.
That's incredible. Okay, so this video you did is with your girlfriend, right? It's a home porn.
Yep.
Is that fair to say? All right.
Yeah.
So you're wearing all the getup, right? You're wearing the masks and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Where did you
which I
go?
don't want to address something with that, but
So you're wearing the masks and all that getup and all that other stuff. So what would you say to people that would tell you, well, wait a second, you're mocking the fact that people have died from the coronavirus. You're making light of a very serious situation. What would be your response to that?
I think a lot of people aren't taking this serious, and it takes that to get people to think about it. If someone comes out and challenges it that way, I mean, I think that's fantastic because they're taking it serious. I think no one has been taking this serious for the last month, and we're acting like it's not here. We haven't been testing anyone. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, U.S. cases are low. We're letting everybody. I got a text from my friend this morning saying, hey, I'm coming to Las Vegas on the 19th. We got to hang out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is a pandemic. As of this morning, who finally calls it a pandemic? It's been a pandemic for a while now. And I feel like, so the more people who comment about that, I think that's great. That mask has already had use. It was already going to, it's pretty much ready to be pitched. I used it quite a long time. I have a better mask that's N99 rated now. I also shaved because that video was made a while ago. And there's a lot of studies showing that, facial hair breaks the seal. That was
Chase,
one thing I did bad in the video. I tried to update that.
Chase, I have to say you're much more calculated than I expect you to be.
Oh, no, if you lay this, I'm not a porn star. I am not. That is a side fun hobby.
For the record, I have never had sex in a hazmat suit. What does that feel like?
Well, I haven't done a full hazmat suit, but I hope to experience that one day. But the mask was a great time.
So you're not the only person that has done this. There are others that have made these types of coronavirus porn. Some videos titled "Deserted Wuhan," another one says "TSA agent detains woman suspected of coronavirus." So you're certainly not the first person to do this. You probably won't be the last person to do this. Do you plan on making any more videos?
I definitely do plan on making more videos. Every day, the numbers and facts that I get from multiple sources, all reliable, change. Like what the World Health Organization and the CDC and the U.S. government say are all different numbers, and it seems really tough to, weighing these down on what's real. So you got to logic it out, lay down all the numbers on the table, and figure out what this actually is. And all I have figured out is no one really fully knows what this is now. A lot of people are like, oh, the death rate's low. The World Health Organization says it's 3.4%. That's massive. The common flu is 0.1%, according to the director, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease.
Wow.
And that's a significant increase. Now, then Trump comes out and says, oh, we're thinking it's about 1%. But none of these are calculating when our healthcare system that's already at stressed capacity won't be able to handle this. Once you have that, people who normally could go, 10% of people needed intensive care, ICU units, breathing machines, things like that. That's Italy. Sorry, I should clarify that. Sure. In Italy, it was about 10%.
For the record, I just want to say I think you might be one of the smartest porn stars I've ever interviewed in my life. His name is not a knock against porn stars, but I'm just saying you sound extremely intelligent.
You do sound very bright.
Yeah.
Katie Morgan was pretty smart too. Brian.
Yes, she was. His name is Chase Pounder.
I do like your name as well.
Yeah, I do like that name. It's got a nice little, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's got a nice
bang, little bang.
Nice little bang to it, for lack of a better term. Okay, Chase, so you said that you think people are searching for this as a silly novelty, and you think it's a minority of people who are actually pleasuring themselves to this type of content. So of the 500,000 people, that have watched your coronavirus porn, how many people do you think have actually pleasured themselves to it?
That is such a tough question. I would say, given that normally your experience on Pornhub is jumping around different videos while continuously stroking it, I would assume quite a lot of them, even though it wasn't their original purpose and they might be confused halfway through.
For the record,
let's say a third.
For the record, our producer Jason Stein has informed me that he's watched the video and he hasn't pleasured himself, but he wasn't looking at your girlfriend. That's what he told me. I don't know if that's true or not. So have you made these types of videos before? Not coronavirus porn, but have you made other types of videos, home videos before in regards to this stuff?
I guess all of our porn are technically home videos because, as I said, it is more of a hobby. I'm actually a small business owner. I have a handful of employees. It's a virtual reality video game development company. And so that's the primary task. So every porn we do make is homemade. As for viral videos with funny concepts to spread, no, I've never attempted to do that. But I really broke down a lot of logic and did a lot of studying into how to create one before I jumped in. And I originally had 3 concepts, and I'm like, we're going to hit it on one of these. We luckily got it on the first time. But now that we have that traction, we can really follow up videos that have a little more information. I don't know if you've seen the second one, but the second one is more like, okay, here we got them. Now let's inform them.
I think Brian's next question is going to be: are those home videos available for him to purchase? Actually, have you monetized? Have you monetized this so far?
Yes, the hobby started more for fun, and it turned very profitable very quickly. So yes, I could actually sustain myself just on that now very comfortably. But littlesquirtles.com is where you can get all that stuff.
What is that website called again?
Little Squirtles. That is my girlfriend's name. We kind of do everything under her.
So Squirtles, SQUIRTLES, Squirtles.
Yep.
So in all seriousness, Mr. Pounder, why are you in self-quarantine? Do you really think? Don't you think that is making this, maybe you're overblowing the situation a little bit?
I don't think so. We did this very logically. I brought this up to my whole team, actually, and I talk about this in my second video, that we could have been doing this way earlier. And I think it would be helping our economy a lot right now, because a lot of the jobs right now can be transferred to remote operations. A lot of jobs in this country, a vast amount of jobs. And the fact that we don't even attempt to do that early, now we're going to be struggling. I guarantee everybody's going to be trying to figure out how to work remote right now. I brought it in. It was still chill. I knew this was coming. I talked to my team. We did this end of January, and I'm like, hey, let's start building up the tools we need. You have Asana for task management. We got, TeamViewer for remote computer interactions. We got Slack for lines of communication. And, we lined it all up. And there hasn't been one hiccup in our operation during this whole thing, and there won't be, because we planned for it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing that, because everyone in America right now is, our numbers are low, this is nothing, this is going to pass, this is, they compare it to SARS and MERS, swine flu, whatever it is. But the fact is, we don't know. And anytime when this comes in, even the top people in charge don't fully know. And that's with anything. I mean, there's so many unknowns right now. And it's like, if it's unknown, you have to expect it's the worst. This is my idol, Bill Gates. I don't know if you've seen his studies, but he's been running pandemic scenario simulations and fun things to figure out how prepared we are for a long time, through 2016 all the way through 2018. Mm-hmm. And he concluded we are not ready for this. And he said this will happen in our lifetime. And even now he's like, until we know otherwise, we should expect the worst. That's what he said.
You must have the coolest girlfriend in the world, because I'm wondering how this conversation starts. Do you just go up to your girlfriend and say, hey, you know what, honey? I want 1 million people to see us naked having sex on camera, wearing these masks and everything. Like, can you explain to me how that first conversation goes with your girlfriend?
Yeah, that's true. We're pretty chill, and we just have a fun time. Literally everything we've done is more just because we want to, and it's fun. There's no, I'm more than financially stable, so that makes our content great, because you can do what you want. But when I brought this up, I've been talking about this with friends and family, and no one is taking me serious. No one. I mean, I sold all the stocks I had. A lot of my portfolio is very wide, and I did a mass sell at the peak, which is great. And I tried to tell my brother and dad, who are huge investors, do the same. They're like, oh, no, we're just going to have this mic, and then it'll be fine. Everything will recover. Now, of course, they're all doing the panic thing with everyone else. But these actions, it was frustrating. I couldn't get any point across. I'm not a viral YouTuber. I don't have any outreach. I'm kind of an introvert, so I make more and put it out there. But we kind of just stay inside, do our own thing. We just like to hang out with each other. So I have no platform. And I felt so helpless watching this unfold. I have timelines that are saved, on Google Docs, where you have, IP timestamps on things from 2 months ago, plotting out all the timelines of all the countries I've been running down and what's going to happen here, and U.S. who's behind anyone, because we don't have any test kits. Our test kits were faulty. I don't know if you heard of that whole thing or watched that part, but we've been sitting here blind, letting it just spread like wildfire. And we're going to get these test kits and all of a sudden see this explosion. And, the quarantine's already starting outside New York City, but they're going to, you can't really quarantine at a time once it's already everywhere. You got to catch it early.
Well, for the record, there were definitely a few explosions in your video. There's no question about that.
So there's supposedly 7 million test kits by the end of the week, but obviously the population of the United States is 350, so that's only 5%. It does seem to affect the sick. Basically, just get a lot more sick. The elderly tend to die in these type of situations, especially if they have underlying health conditions. You're really intelligent about this subject. Do you think? Do you have kind of a conspiracy theorist perspective? Do you believe that it's a man-made disease, or you think it actually came from Wuhan, China, from these fresh markets and having people interact with animals in ways that they shouldn't?
So this is actually a really good question. And I've been thinking about this a lot back and forth. And honestly, I don't think we're ever going to know. And that's okay. My opinion on the matter is, yeah, there's a lot of coincidences that they originally said it was the seafood market in Wuhan, China. But the problem is they have confirmed that it went into the market before it came out of the market. So that wasn't the original source. Now, it is also a coincidence that the only level 4 grade biochemical lab in all of China happens to be pretty close to that seafood market. So if it was man-made, there's a lot of options. Yeah, they could have released it, and maybe they're doing it for, population control, because, China's GDP has been on a decline overall year after year now. So obviously they have to do something pretty intense. Do I really think they did that? Probably not. What I think, if it is a man-made virus, because I know they do have known coronaviruses in that lab, amongst any other level 4 chemical lab, a lot of people have been doing research on it. And it seems very plausible to me to have an accident, have a human maybe not fully sterilized before they leave it, or, human error. Sure. That's what I think. If it is man-made, I really don't think someone really wanted to unleash this on us.
I agree. I agree 150%.
An accident is very plausible.
Yeah, I think
plausible.
I think that's what happened here. Okay, let me ask you the most serious question in this entire interview, at least in my personal opinion. Is there any chance that I can be trapped and self-quarantined with your girlfriend for at least 5 minutes? Is that possible?
How much do you got?
I like that. Not enough, my friend.
Can I be included?
Not enough.
Now, Brian, is that greed?
Let me answer his question.
All
First
right,
of all, not enough. Number 2, I never play helicopters, so that is not going to happen.
So, Brian, is that greed on Chase's behalf, or is that just capitalism?
I think it's the fact that he has a very hot girlfriend and they're very smart and they know how to make money. And if she agrees to it, then, hey, it's like Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson in that movie at the Westgate. What's that movie called?
It's Supply and Demand.
Well, no, that's not the name of the movie. The name of the movie is not Supply and Demand. What is the movie with Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson where
this is going to drive me crazy.
Indecent Proposal. Indecent Proposal. Yeah. I will not give your girlfriend the coronavirus. I promise you I don't have that disease. I have the pasty, bald, white skin disease, but many of us have that.
Hey, Chase, are you refusing to shake hands with anybody new at this point, or anybody at all?
Yeah. I don't even leave the house except for bare necessity. I mean, I got months of food supply for me and my girl. I did very early. We got water. I even have solar panel systems so I can switch over to full remote. I'm not planning to move anywhere until I know this is fine. Until I know with 100% certainty.
JD wants to ask you all the serious questions, so I'm going to continue to ask you all the ridiculous questions. Is it a possibility of any of your sperm has the coronavirus? Is that possible?
Impossible.
How can you say that? You're not a scientist. You're a coronavirus porn star.
That is very true. But as of now, with current knowledge, it looks like their quarantines are 14 days. They said it might be up to 21 days now. They don't know. But I haven't had any human contact for well over 30.
All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to watch your video, and only for show purposes. Nothing to do with the fact that your girlfriend is absolutely hot.
Research and development.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit.
I do a lot of research and development on our quality control.
I bet you do.
Too.
One of these days, you have to promise us when everything is all good with this coronavirus stuff, and hopefully it's gone. I want you and your girlfriend to come in with all this getup. I want you to come in.
I would love to.
The whole 9 yards. You are more than welcome, my friend. Chase Pounder, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Do we have time for one more little thing?
Absolutely.
People who are afraid of this death rate and saying that it's not going to affect them, they aren't in the target. Well, this is kind of unrelated, but just something to point out there. The American Academy of Neurology did a huge study at the end of 2017 and determined that the virus that causes mono may have a severe increased risk for MS later in life. So these action-reaction, it may go away, but who knows? This thing is only 3 months old. And this could have some serious effects. 5 years, you get the virus, you survive. 5 years from now, who knows what you get. We really don't know what this is actually doing to the body.
Well,
so I just want to throw that in there.
I just want to throw this in there. Your girlfriend might, those commercials that say if you have a 4-hour erection, you need to seek help. Your girlfriend might, if I watch your video, your girlfriend might do that to me. So I hold you and your girlfriend personally responsible for that, Mr. Pounder.
Brian, just don't buy your Viagra
send me
from
the
Russia.
I will. Chase, I appreciate you having a good time with us, man. Thanks for coming on, and congratulations on your video going viral, my friend. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Chase.
I love that. No, call him Mr. Pounder, okay? Call him Mr. Chase Pounder. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up next, an update on Harvey Weinstein. He's going to jail for a very, very long time. We'll bring you that coming up next with our producer, Jason Stein. This is the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
If your business is in need of office furniture, look no further than Office Furniture Concepts. From executive furniture to workstations, conference tables to reception furniture, and more, Office Furniture Concepts has got you covered. With true commercial-grade quality at competitive prices and knowledgeable staff, it's no wonder Office Furniture Concepts has been serving the Las Vegas community for over 2 decades. Visit Office Furniture Concepts showroom on West Tropicana at Arville, or call 702-873-8555. That's 702-873-8555.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us on a Wednesday. By the way, the Pac-12 starts at MGM Grand. That's where the old Pac-12 was. It's at T-Mobile Arena. Be heading out to that this afternoon. But we have some Harvey Weinstein news, as our producer, Jason Stein, has just joined us in studio after watching that Chase Pounder video. Stein, take her away.
I've watched it 3 times now, Brian.
3 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Let's talk about Harvey real quick. The big news of the day. This broke this morning.
He is a big guy, so it is big news.
Harvey Weinstein, as we know, is convicted. Was it last week? He's now been sentenced to 23 years in prison.
He's not going to make it.
On rape and criminal sex act convictions. He's 68 years old, and they're actually, his lawyers are very concerned that he could be a suicide risk.
Good. Good.
Because he's going to be put in this prison, and he's going to be a target for people.
I hope somebody pounds him.
They were asking for 5 years, considering his age and his medical condition, which I guess he had back surgeries, and he's walking with that walker. And instead, the judge gave him 23 years, so quite a big difference there.
I hope somebody beats the crap out of him every day for the rest of his life until he's dead.
That might happen, or he might pull an Epstein and he might hang himself.
I think he's the type of coward that would probably do that.
I think Weinstein's got maybe 6 months left on this earth.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be around much longer. So is he in jail right now?
His life has changed entirely.
Yeah, he's in jail right now. He's going to be transferred to a prison at some point. But here's a thing that was also very interesting. He had some of his accusers testify at the sentencing phase earlier, and he said, quote, in his defense, he said, quote, "Thousands of men are losing their due process. I'm worried about this country." So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
He went on to say, "I could only hope that whatever sentence it's long." This is his accuser, one of his accusers saying, "I hope whatever sentence they give him, it's long enough for him to acknowledge what he has done for me and others." So that's what went down in the courtroom. Now, here's another interesting angle of the story that's coming out. Harvey Weinstein apparently thought Jennifer Aniston should be killed.
What?
Yes, she should be killed. What happened was there was going to be a National Enquirer article that was going to be coming out that suggested that he sexually assaulted Jennifer Aniston. And when he learned about it, his assistant wrote him an email and said, "Hey, this Enquirer story is going to be coming out." And in response to an email about it, Weinstein said, "She should be killed." Now, the allegations from Aniston are that during the 2005 production of the movie Derailed, Weinstein sexually assaulted her by pressing up against her back and grabbing her buttocks. Through the years, he would frequently stare at her cleavage and breast and move his mouth around, making Aniston uncomfortable. Now, she's denied it all. A representative for Aniston said that never happened. So, but there are court documents that say when Weinstein learned about these allegations that were going to come out in the Inquirer, he wanted her killed. But there's more. Wait, there's more. He also apparently kept a so-called red flag list of people he was concerned about that were going to spill the beans.
Well, Republicans don't want to hear about red flags. Go ahead.
Not that kind of red flag.
No, you're talking like Billy Madison, Steve Buscemi had.
This is a list of names that Weinstein was concerned could be talking to journalists back in 2017 about his sexual misconduct with women. Most notably, Ben Affleck appeared on the document. This is being reported by Variety, but there were roughly 70 names on the list, including Ben Affleck, Annabelle Sciorra from The Sopranos, in addition to some of his accusers, Rose McGowan, Zelda Perkins, and the list goes on and on. 70 names on this so-called red flag list.
This guy's
I don't
just
know
an
if Weinstein
absolute
wanted
nut.
them killed too, but that's the news of the day, man, with Weinstein.
You know what
Pretty
I want? Here's what I want. I want Harvey Weinstein to sit in the electric chair. I want every single woman that he's ever acted inappropriately in front of to be able to beat the crap out of him. That's what I want. Until the guy's dead. Then we would see justice, okay? I want the most disgusting man to sexually assault Harvey Weinstein. That is what that, and even that wouldn't be justice.
Brian, I can almost guarantee that's going to happen.
I hope it does.
No, he's going to be. He's going to be.
I hope it does.
A boyfriend to quite a few people, I think. In the
source told
in the can, and I really think that the 23-year-old sentence is because of that list that he had and the fact that he said he wanted Jennifer Aniston dead. I think there's a lot there, and this is really big for the Me Too movement. All these things that have taken place with actresses being sexually assaulted by directors and producers, I think that's going to stop now after this really harsh punishment to Harvey Weinstein.
All right, coming up next, Alex Jones, the InfoWars founder, nut job, spent a little time behind bars this morning. We'll explain what exactly happened coming up next.
Pandemic. Shortly after Dr. Anthony Fauci told Congress this.
We will see more cases and things will get worse than they are right now.
The World Health Organization's director, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, made this declaration.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Washington State Governor Jay Inslee is banning events with large crowds.
This is not just your ordinary flu. This is a virus that the experts tell us are at least 10 times more potentially fatal than the flu. And this demands a response consistent with the nature of the threat.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says schools and other gathering places will be shut down for 2 weeks in a containment zone in New Rochelle, a suburb of New York City. The area accounts for a majority of the state's 173 cases. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Leonard Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by the USDEA 360 strategy. A crash I-15 northbound at Silverado Ranch at the on-ramp still a factor, but near the clearing stage. Also a crash reported on the Southern Beltway eastbound at I-15. On the surface streets, watch for slowing for the accident reported on Sunset westbound near Eastern Avenue. And an injury crash. Police and fire with a scene at Paradise southbound at Desert Inn Road. Heroin, meth, opioids grip our community. It's time to wake up Vegas and protect those you care about. Visit wakeup-vegas.com for resources to change lives. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Whether you enjoy classical, rock, or heavy metal, we all march to the beat of our own drummer or guitarist. That's why Views also offers you more ways to vape your way. It's available in 5 bold color options, 3 smooth tastes, and 3 nicotine levels. It's your vape, your way. Views, charge beyond. Underage sale prohibited.
Join Dan and Chuck every Saturday night from 6 to 7 p.m. as they host Las Vegas Home Experts. Learn about finances, money talk, the real estate market, and investing. Only on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Wheel of Fortune slots make more millionaires more often. Will you be next? Play Wheel of Fortune at your favorite casino today.
Wheel of Fortune is a registered trademark of Caliphone Production Incorporated. All rights reserved.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It's the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. You know, there's not many times on this show that I brought up this idiot scumbag, Alex Jones. If you don't know who he is, he's the founder of InfoWars. Basically what it is, it's ridiculous conspiracy theories that he brings up, unsubstantiated. But here's where I have a problem with it. I'll give you an example. Horrible mass shooting, right? School shooting that happens in Connecticut years ago. I think we're going on maybe somewhere around maybe 8 years ago, 9 years ago. It was a while ago. A bunch of 7 and 8 year old kids and some adults lost their lives at the hands of a nut. These kids are dead. Parents, grandparents, still grieving, and rightfully so. Horrible situation. So what does this idiot Alex Jones decide to do just to get clicks, just to make money, for no other reason? He says that it was a hoax. He says that the school shooting didn't happen. And at the hands of hurting people, hurting innocent people, grieving families. Because that's the kind of person that Alex Jones is. All he cares about is money and fame. He doesn't care about, the consequences of the things you say. He doesn't care. That is Alex Jones in a nutshell. He is a nutjob conspiracy theorist, piece of crap. That's what he is. So there was a family disturbance at his house. Now, I know that he divorced one of his wives in 2015. How any woman could even stand this man is beyond me. And now, apparently, he had another disturbance, a family disturbance with a current wife, even though there's nothing on the books that says the guy's even married. This happened at about 12:30 a.m. this morning. It's a driving while intoxicated case, and it happened in the heart of Texas, and the former InfoWars host was busted for this. He was booked, and according to the Travis County Sheriff's Department, he was back on the streets by 4 a.m. after posting a $3,000 bond. And as you might expect, Jones is telling his own version of what actually took place. He went on his stupid Alex Jones Show podcast, said he blew under the legal limit of a .08, which the police are not saying is true. And he says the whole charge will go away. And InfoWars is now already floating a conspiracy theory saying Jones was caught in this DWI sting aimed at increasing the sheriff's department's number of arrests. Again, no proof. But according to police documents, cops were called to Jones' residence for a family disturbance, and when they arrived, his wife had claimed that they had a verbal altercation that was physical. And she said it had happened earlier in the day. Again, there's nothing on the books that says he's even married, so this is bizarre. She allegedly told the officer Jones took off in a car and was possibly drinking. She told the police officer this. When cops caught up with him shortly afterwards, sometime after 10 p.m., police pulled him over, and the arrest report says the officer detected a strong odor of alcohol coming from Jones. And they say Jones admitted he drank a bottle of sake while he and his wife were at a sushi restaurant a couple hours earlier. And he said that's when they got into the argument. Jones told the officer he walked home, but the argument continued there, so he left to go to another residence to get away from her. I would imagine a lot of people probably want to get away from him, including women, based on his past history. According to the report, Jones demonstrated some impairment issues during the field sobriety test, such as swaying and losing his balance. So basically what this scumbag did is because of his own selfish reasons. He could have called a cab. He could have called an Uber. Could have called a friend. He decided to get into his own vehicle while intoxicated and put everyone's lives at risk. But should we really be shocked by this? Should we be shocked that a guy who has demonstrated for many, many years that he has no problem in hurting people, in this case, possibly killing others, should we be surprised that this selfish son of a bitch decided to get into a car drunk when this is a man who has been hurting people for decades with his nonsense and his conspiracy theories? Zero credibility. He is a piece of garbage. He is a scumbag. Any name in the book. I hope this guy does go to jail. I don't know if that's going to happen, unfortunately, because he does have a lot of money, and money equals power. And when you have power, sometimes you get away with things in the court system.
So what did he blow, Brian?
The police right now are saying that they are not releasing the exact details of it. What is that noise? I hear that noise.
I hear that noise.
Is that an email that is up or something? I hear that noise like 3 times an hour, and it's driving me nuts. We've been hearing it for a month.
I probably hear it twice a day.
Oh, my God, that's
3
driving
times
me
an hour
crazy.
is a bit of a stretch. Do you have something against Saki? I like Saki. I'm a Saki fan. So he had Saki with his wife that no one knows about.
When did I say I have a problem with sake? I have a problem with people that drive drunk.
And he walked home, right? There was a confrontation at home. He tried to leave the residence, which I can kind of relate to a little bit. And he was intoxicated while he left the residence. He drove somewhere else and he got arrested. I'd like to know what he blew. If it's a .05 or a .08 or if it's a .16 or a .20, then that's obviously egregious.
Police records are now showing that he blew around the .08 mark,
which is so he was just barely legally intoxicated.
Right at that level. Now they're also saying that he was swaying and slurring his words. Not somebody that should have gotten into a vehicle. But again, this is a guy that has a history doing and saying irresponsible things, hurting others so that he can get clicks and make money. The man has zero credibility, and he's a scumbag. Sadly, there are a lot of people on the right, maybe not a lot, but a good amount of people on the right that have supported this guy. There are people on the right that believe every word that this guy said. Again, this is a guy who says the school shooting in Connecticut never happened. When a bunch of 7, 8, and 9-year-old kids were basically decapitated at the hands of that madman kid, and adults died as well, and this piece of garbage goes on his show and says that school shooting never happened. Now, some of those parents sued him. I believe there was a settlement out of court.
I think they won.
But this guy is one of the worst scumbag human beings on the planet. He is one of the worst. It is one thing when you say egregious things. It's one thing when you say things to get attention. Like, right? When Tucker Carlson goes on his stupid television show on Fox News and he says the idea of white supremacism is a lie, that's a horrible thing to say, right? It's a horrible thing to say because it was 2 weeks after 22 people lost their lives in a Walmart. So there are certain things you shouldn't say for clicks.
And media members tend to do that because conflict travels.
It's okay to create conflict.
Conflict goes viral.
It's okay to create conflict.
But you have to keep in mind, Alex Jones would not. I think his net worth is about $25 million, but he would not be as successful as he is from a financial standpoint as far as to having a following, unless he had a following. You've got millions of people across the United States and across the world that are taking what he says and they're acting on it.
There are ways,
and they're believing in it. So it's not. Can I fault Alex Jones for saying the things he does? Yes, but once he says them for the first or the second time, and that following increases, and he's able to make a living for himself as an entertainer, you have to look at the audience as well as Alex Jones that actually make Alex Jones who he is.
Well, I also do blame the people that support him because I think they're idiots. I mean, the guy doesn't say anything on his show that's ever honest or truthful. It's one thing to be, again, it's one thing to be a conspiracy theorist. It's another thing to intentionally hurt people for the sake of making money and clicks. Make no mistake about it, folks. That is exactly what Alex Jones did. So are we surprised that he doesn't own up to what he did? Are we surprised that Alex Jones doesn't say, you know what, I had some drinks, I had sake, I got into an altercation with my wife, I made a horrible mistake.
So you do have something.
It won't happen again. It won't happen again. What do you mean I have something against sake? I have something against someone that gets into a car drunk. I have a problem with anybody that gets into a car that is, behind the wheel that shouldn't be behind the wheel. It has nothing. I don't care whether it's sake or beer or shots. I don't care what it is. Get a damn Uber. Get a taxi. It's never an excuse to get behind the wheel. Listen, if you want to kill yourself and you're dumb enough, let me explain something to you. If Alex Jones killed himself and it was a one-car accident, I wouldn't care because I would say he deserves it because he was the one that was dumb enough to get behind the car. It's not like the guy had a diabetic reaction or a heart attack, right? Then I would feel bad for him. Even though I think he's a scumbag, I would still feel bad for him. When you decide to get behind the wheel of a car and you're drunk, you're playing Russian roulette with society. It's not just you. If he was drunk and he killed himself, I wouldn't have felt bad for him at all. The problem is that it's not just about him. It's about the innocent people on the roads. You know how many people have died just in Las Vegas alone in the last decade because of drunk drivers who selfishly decide to get into their car intoxicated? Add this guy to the list now. Take his damn driver's license away. And for you idiots out there that support this guy, my question to you is why? Why do you watch this guy? Why? Why do you support his career? There are grieving families, grieving parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, you name it, that lost loved ones in that school shooting in Connecticut. And this guy just poured salt into the wound. And why? Why does Alex Jones do things like that? Well, it's pretty simple, folks. He does it because he doesn't have any talent. It's the only way he can make money. Sadly, it works because there are a lot of gullible people out there in society that believe the crap that this guy spews on a regular basis.
Because he's carved out his own niche. And again, if he didn't have the millions of followers, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. We wouldn't know who Alex Jones is. If the things that he say did not, pique the interest of his supporters and his following, it wouldn't even be a conversation. So,
yeah, shame on you. Shame on you if you decide to watch this guy, if you decide to support his career. Say what you want about one's opinions when it comes to politics. Say what you want about that sort of stuff. I would never say any of this stuff about, listen, even the people that I despise, right? Like Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson. Even they don't stoop to the level of this guy. If you support this guy, if you support his career, shame on you. It speaks volumes about your character. Speaking of character, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is time for our hate mail segment of the day, brought to you by our producer, Jason Stein. We'll take a quick break, be back right after this. Hate mail time coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
We have a 12-year-old German Shepherd named Sophie, and she became overweight, stinky, greasy coat, and lifeless almost. Then about 4 years ago, we found out she had several vertebrae fused together. She was unable to walk. The vet told us Sophie was going to have to be euthanized. I thought, I've got to do something. DINOVITE.com. I remember Sophie starting the Dynovite, and she from day one has loved it. She is no longer stinky. She is full of life. Dynovite healed Sophie. Dynovite is nutrition. I truly recommend that people not wait until the vet recommends euthanasia. You have to get them on Dynovite right away while they're healthy.
Dynovite for life. You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynovite from DINOVITE.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. It is amazing.
We're back.
Some of the conversations we have off the air. It is kind of funny. Stein walks in here with an attitude. He's very upset about something. Stein, do you care to share why you're upset? Just let the listeners know. They deserve it.
Yeah, someone brought to my attention that yesterday when I was on this airwave and on this YouTube channel, somebody who shall remain nameless labeled me as short white guy, lazy fake producer.
I wonder who could have done that.
Boy, I wonder.
It's such a mystery.
Could it possibly be the guy in front of the computer right now?
It's possible.
Or the one to my right with a big grin on his face?
Give Campaign the microphone for a second. He deserves to defend himself.
I will start.
We've had this. This is a personnel issue, Brian.
Yeah, me and Campaign.
Nothing's off
Me and
grounds on
Stein
this
talked
show.
about this. So here's the deal. Campaign and I decided it would be kind of a funny bit if we used a bunch of synonyms for short and use that to describe Jason Stein. But we did not discuss.
Very creative.
It's the hate mail portion of the segment of the show. It kind of makes sense. But we did not discuss lazy fake producer because honestly, I don't believe that Jason Stein.
Apparently, Campaign believes it, and Brian thinks it's funny.
Okay, hold on a second.
Is a lazy fake producer. In fact, I think he's one of the best in the business, and he works his ass off.
Stein
for
does a
us.
very good
He
job,
does a great job.
but that's here nor there. We're not here to coddle him.
But
Stein,
here's Campaign.
hold on. Let me go ahead. Give him the microphone. Let me respond here real quick, Campaign, and then we'll let you. Okay. We do a segment every day Don't whistle.
The hate is not supposed to come from my coworkers. The hate
You almost
comes from
said
the
friend, and then you
yeah.
stopped
You're right.
yourself.
I almost did say friend. The hate is not supposed to come from within. So I know what you're going to say. Well, we do a hate mail segment, so it's okay to make fun. No, the hate mail is from the listeners. Now, if listeners want to write in and call me short or
You're not going to like my opinion.
a bad producer, then that's fine. I will read that on air. I don't need it from you or you or you.
Do you really think that we think you're a lazy producer? Be honest.
Do
Do you think that
I think it came from somewhere.
That's not what I asked
No one just makes that up.
That's not what I asked you. Do you think that I believe that you're a lazy
I do.
producer?
I do.
You really believe that?
Yeah, and I think you believe
So
it.
you
and
think,
believe
okay,
it,
well, you're wrong, and it's sad that you think that because you're the reason, I'm the
It's
reason
sad
why
you
you're
encourage
here.
this kind of behavior.
I encourage anything that gets anybody upset on this show because I think it's good radio and it's funny. That's why.
Well,
Okay?
I think I have to say, like,
How about
like,
you apologize? That's what you should be
well,
saying.
first thing I'm going to do is like the first thing I was texting this chick this morning, right? And then I get this other text, and I was like, "Hey, why did you do this?" And I'm like, "Is this another chick texting me?" Because you have a high level of estrogen flowing through your stuff. But it's all cool. I apologize. I apologize. I apologize and stuff.
Is your mic on?
Yeah.
Did you turn your mic off? Put your mic back on. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Don't be lazy.
I don't
Turn
know
your mic
why my doesn't my name pop up when it
No. I saw the name pop up, but I just
and you figured, oh, this is a woman.
No, I looked when I read the message and stuff. I was like, no, this is some female stuff.
Oh,
So
You know what I'm
campaign is
saying?
adding salt to the wound, calling Stein a woman on
No,
top
I'm
of
just saying there's a lot of estrogen in that.
Yeah, he's doubling down. I don't think that was much of an apology.
That was terrible. Okay, that was the worst apology.
All right, well,
that
keep
was,
laughing, everybody.
That
Keep
was
laughing.
worse.
Stop it.
That was worse than a Donald Trump apology.
Listen, we all get made fun of on this show. We all get attacked. I've had death threats on this show. You don't hear me crying about it.
I would rather have a death
believe-
threat, to be honest.
Oh, stop it.
No,
Stop
you know
it.
what?
That's
Brian,
not true.
Brian, his work ethic should have not been questioned.
That's right.
First of all,
Publicly
Because
humiliated.
me and campaign did not discuss
Okay,
that.
for the
we
record,
discussed
you know
a
what
number,
Stein said to me yesterday?
a string,
Okay, hello,
a string of
excuse
short
me.
jokes.
Stein said
which
that I had. Stein said in a group message, that I had AIDS yesterday. Okay, I don't have AIDS. Okay, but I didn't cry about it on the radio today and say I don't have HIV. I've never had a sexual. You know what I did? I laughed and I said that's
All right,
funny.
Brian, if campaign.
Do you believe I have AIDS?
Brian,
Be honest.
Brian, if campaign.
I think it's 50-50, to be honest.
Well, fine. It's
I think
50-50. You're lazy.
I would
okay,
say it's 80-20, but no, if campaign.
You see, he laughs. You see, I got him to smile because it's making fun of me, so that's okay. But the second somebody makes fun of him, it's off grounds. That's not
I have sacred
fair.
cows, Brian.
That's not
All
fair.
right. So, Brian, if campaign
Sacred cows.
labeled you on YouTube as Brian has HIV or Brian Shapiro, by the way, he has AIDS, and every single day it was like that.
You know, what I would
Would
respond?
you have an issue with that?
Campaign told me a story the other day about how he's receiving oral sex from many women in a hotel room. So what I would respond as, you should probably wear protection. I would say he probably has an HIV. I would respond by putting it back on him.
So
if I'm Stein, I say, you're the one that's lazy. You're just sitting there for 3 hours.
Okay,
I would pull it on you.
You would project.
I would defend. Yes.
You would project.
And we would make
Okay.
it.
Can we get to the hate mail where
but
we?
campaign would respect me for defending myself. I wouldn't cry like a little baby. I would defend myself.
I
I'd
didn't
make
cry.
It funny.
I didn't cry. I just
You
simply
look
said.
a little teary-eyed.
Okay, I look
You
teary-eyed.
look upset.
I said, I didn't even want to talk about this on the air, and now
It's funny.
And now you're making me angry.
It's funny. That's the best radio. You're best when you're all right. Good. I'm glad you're angry now. Read the hate mail when you're angry. It'll be better that way. Trust me. I'm making a superstar out of you. Go ahead.
First comment, and this actually came to us through an email, which was very creative because most of us comes through YouTube or social media. This one, someone actually took the time to find our email and email us, which I appreciate.
Really?
And
Yeah,
they wrote of the two of you, you should change the name of your show to quote not sharp and kind of stupid.
Okay, that's not. We're not going to change the name to that.
That's actually very clever.
Yeah, we're not going to.
like it.
We're not going
Please
to do that.
continue.
We're not going to do that. But we certainly appreciate the suggestion.
Not a bad request.
The not sharp and kind of stupid show.
That's fair.
I like that. That's a possibility. Next comment from Angel. I literally had to shut off the radio today while I'm driving because you are so annoying. I assume they're talking about Brian.
I think they were talking about Rush Limbaugh. Go ahead, Stein. Next.
Okay. Next comment. Brian is racist towards Spanish people because he
How's
said
that?
because he said the Spanish flu is different.
I never said that. Never. I don't know what the hell this
That's
guy's
actually
talking
a
about.
really good point.
I didn't
Were you
say
here
that.
for that? What did he say?
Well, if
Didn't say
if
that.
you can't call the coronavirus the Chinese flu, then why is it okay to call the Spanish flu the Spanish flu?
I've never called the flu the Spanish flu in my life. I have absolutely no idea what you or that guy's talking.
I think that's favoritism towards Chinese.
I've never called.
Asian,
You know what I call it?
I think
JD,
it,
you know what I
has
call
to
it?
do with your taste in
No.
women.
You know what I do? I call
think
it.
that's where it's coming
No.
from.
You know what I do? It's
I
ridiculous.
think that's the reservoir.
Okay. You know what I do?
Those are the origins of it all.
I call it the flu. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Just like you, every single time you leave the studio and you take a crap, you have the craps. I don't call it the white guy craps. You have the craps.
First of all, Brian, that's called a constitutional.
You go number 2 every single time at the worst part of the show when I got Doug Basham
What
in
does
here.
the graphics say for my name right now, campaign? Right now. Don't lie to me.
Ex-male stripper.
I like that. That's fair.
Are you happy with that?
That's better.
That's
Lazy.
very fair.
How about lazy ex-male stripper with
All right,
estrogen?
so Brian is racist because he called the Spanish flu different than the Chinese flu.
It's ridiculous.
All right.
It's absolutely
Well,
ridiculous.
it definitely shows favoritism.
When have I ever said Spanish flu on the show?
No,
When have I ever said that?
someone said Spanish flu, and you said that's different from the Chinese
Right.
flu.
But the point is...
Well, it is. It's a different virus.
The point is...
How is that not factual?
Brian, here's the issue. You had an issue with with coronavirus being called the Chinese flu, but you don't have an issue with the Spanish flu being called the Spanish flu.
The bottom line is you have an issue with your constipation, and you need to see a doctor. Go ahead, Stein.
That's totally irrelevant.
It's completely
I
irrelevant.
wish he was
That
constipated.
is an awful
true.
argument.
It's a great argument.
I would seriously weigh 400 pounds. if that
That's
were the
why,
case.
by the way, that's why there's no toilet paper in any of these stores. It's got nothing to do with the coronavirus. It's J.D. Sharp. He's buying all the toilet
No,
paper.
it's my minions.
Do you see, though,
Could be.
Stein, you see how he just kind of takes it and he kind of laughs
I take a
little
lot
bit?
of stuff, but you don't
just takes
ever
it.
question my work ethic. Ever.
Ever?
Ever.
So right now, if I said you're a horrible producer, would you just you'd get all angry?
Well, I
and
know
you-
you'd be kidding in this context.
Right.
No, I'm being completely serious. You're just
Okay,
so
then
bad
we'll-
at what you
Then
do.
we'll talk after the show. And I'll stand in line with the other listeners who want to beat you up after the show. How about that?
Okay, that was kind of funny.
Next comment.
It's kind of fun. It was a lazy joke. Go ahead.
Next comment. Brian did called someone names 3 times. He's the king of name calling. As soon as someone calls him a name, he gets flustered and can't handle it.
Not true. I'm just the king. Just leave it at that. I'm not the king of name calling. I am just the king.
You
I'm
do
king.
have a hard time taking it, but you love to dish it. There's definitely some truth to that.
Sounds like my dates. Go ahead, Stein. Next.
Funny thing is, all this violence and hatred that Brian and his guest have, speaking of Doug Basham, the violence and hatred that Brian and his guest have for Trump is going to get him reelected, and we're going to have to deal with another 4 years, or they're going to have to deal with another 4 years. That will be very satisfying.
Trust me, if Donald Trump gets reelected, it has absolutely nothing to do with me, number one. And number two, it'd probably be beneficial for a radio show. So you're an idiot.
I totally agree with that. Actually, it will be beneficial for the radio show. But what he's saying is people like you and Doug Basham are why Donald Trump gets elected. Not you.
Completely not correct.
So stop thinking about yourself.
Incorrect.
The world does not revolve around you,
It
Brian.
certainly does.
It was just a statement about people that are like you across the United States.
I think you crapping 8 times a day will help get Donald Trump reelected. Go ahead,
We
Stein.
had a lot of comments on Doug Basham. If you don't know who that is, he's a host here on K-Dawn.
Has a lot of hair.
2 to 4 on Saturday.
Yes.
And he came in, he's very liberal. He's even more liberal than
He's
any
very
of
liberal.
us, right?
Yes.
And this person writes, Doug Basham is like an older version of Brian. JD probably figured it was a good time to visit the restroom. No way could I be in the room with those two. The show has hit an all-time low with this guy.
But yet he was still watching the entire segment and took the time to comment on it. I think this person's life has hit an all-time low. Go ahead, Stein. Next.
Hey, very good comment.
Next. See, look at how happy he is when people are making fun of us.
Do you remember
the second somebody makes fun of him, he gets all defensive. Why is that, campaign? Why is that? Estrogen. Go ahead, Stein.
We one of our callers in the 10 o'clock hour called you Fleabag, which I thought was a very
Fleabag.
That kind of
Teabag or Fleabag?
I do like
Teabag is a homosexual.
flea with an F.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that there could be some type of vermin in your hair.
So someone called you
I don't
Fleabag,
have any hair.
and
I'm bald.
Your fake hair.
I'm bald.
Your
I don't
fake
have
hair.
any hair.
I think there could be some type of.
There's nothing in
lice.
there. There's nothing. Maybe from your disgusting dog that you bought for $4,000. Maybe that would be it.
Hey, first of all, it's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
It's a Cavalier, gross, disgusting-looking dog.
It's a great-looking dog.
It craps everywhere.
It has all of its shots.
That dog craps almost as much as you do. Only you don't do it on the floor.
Actually, it craps
Eat a
more
Snickers,
than I do.
Brian. We
Go
got
ahead.
more comments here.
Eat a
This is
Snickers.
probably the more fascinating comments we've gotten.
Hurry up.
Someone did a little research online as to why they call you. Apparently, they call you Fleabag in
I don't know what
poker
that means.
circles. Yeah, I looked it up online. I guess it's true. The poker rooms in Vegas, specifically the poker players, call Brian a Fleabag. That's his nickname.
If Fleabags,
true?
If Fleabags rob you and take all your money every single
never
time,
heard of this.
then I'm a Fleabag because these are people that I've probably taken a lot of money from over the years at the poker tables. So I don't blame them for calling me that. I wouldn't blame them at all.
Next comment: Brian is a hypocrite. He hangs up on guests for name calling and then name calls the caller 3 times. He has zero credibility.
Incorrect. When somebody I hang up on, be specific. If somebody says something that is ignorant or stupid or not factual and they attack me, that is when I attack back. I have never hung up on someone and I have never called somebody a name unless they trigger something like a name call themselves. We don't tolerate that on this show. This isn't a right-wing talking point show, and we don't allow people to offend others unless, if they're going to offend me, then I'm going to offend them back.
Brian,
and I'm going to go move on. We have a ton of calls, and I'm not going to take the time to let someone go on a right-wing, filibuster. That's not what we do here.
Brian, you said Donald Trump should be held to a higher standard with his words.
Absolutely.
Well, you have a radio platform. You should be held to a higher standard calling people names, you nincompoop.
Yeah, so the president... So,
hey, did they spell it right?
So I have the same responsibility as the president...
N-I-N-C-O-M-P-O-O-P?
Yeah,
Wow.
I have the same platform and responsibility as the president of the United States. What a dope. What a dope.
Brian, next comment. Brian wears the Obama knee pads.
I didn't vote for Barack Obama. In order to wear knee pads, you have to vote for that person, you dummy. I never even voted for Barack Obama, you idiot. These people don't even know my voting, or they're so stupid.
Comment from Beth. Brian, you are very classy. You are the king of snowflakes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It doesn't snow in Las Vegas.
Next comment. Brian.
Go ahead. That's my only comeback.
Brian is a spoiled brat.
Really? Well, you know what? That's a very interesting statement that you just made there, me being a spoiled brat. I actually do take offense to that. I come from a middle-class family. My dad has worked since he was 16 years old. I've been working since I was 16 years old. My parents never had a lot of money. Sister never had a lot of money. So for somebody to make a statement like that, not surprising, some troll on social media, but they actually have absolutely
no idea. You still don't have any money.
That's true. I don't, well, more money than you, I think. You God forbid you lose $20 at the blackjack table. Estrogen. You lose $20 at the blackjack table, you lose your
I'll
mind.
tell you that has nothing to do with Stein's.
Let me tell you
money saved.
Let me
up.
tell
He
you
just,
something.
He's a principal guy. He doesn't like to gamble his money.
Well, all I can tell
he
you,
likes to
all
stockpile.
All I can tell you is his wife told me he has his time of the month every month. That is a quote from his wife.
What?
That's what she said.
Oh, okay. Next comment. Brian acts like he's so knowledgeable, but he just reads from the front of the Washington Post.
Don't read the Washington Post.
He doesn't do any independent research, and it shows.
Not true. Don't read the Washington Post. Tell you that much.
You definitely don't read.
Oh, no, I read.
And finally...
I read on what it takes to be a good producer. You should read that book.
And finally, I can't wait till this show goes coast to coast and fails, because everyone will see what a lying hypocrite Brian is.
Okay, well, we look forward to that day, because only shows that go national are shows that are going to fail.
I'll tell you this, we're probably looking at 30 to 60 days before that happens.
Well, we look forward to
that. Be ready.
All right, we're going to have a talk with Jason Stein. He just pulled a Nancy Pelosi. We're going to take a break. 21-hour break. Sean Hannity coming up next.
There was some angst in that Pelosi.
Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Coronavirus pandemic. Washington State is banning events with crowds larger than 250 people as one way of trying to contain the spread of the coronavirus, which the World Health Organization's Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says has reached epidemic stage.
We expect to see the number of cases, the number of deaths, and the number of affected countries climb even higher.
More from correspondent Jacqueline Howard.
The fact that they are calling this a